theory creaking open, baby.
Yo, welcome to the screen where the plot gets bent. Julie B deep dives, not just for content. She don't react, she dissects those threads from the lens, catching clues y'all missed when the credits end. What you know about freeze framing frames and while you blinking, she building an evidence drum. Got a notebook bigger than the lore itself, and a chat full of nerds with a mental health shelf. Yeah, she sees the glitch, peep the double cross. You just watching TV, she talk to the boss. Every theory and thesis, no throwaway guess. While y'all on season 1, she in season X. Said rewind it slow it, zoom in enhance. Julie B caught the symbol in the window glance. While you tweeting what just happened like a clown, she already made a flow chart, color coded breakdown.
They don't die like us, they don't vibe like us. They binge and they bounce, we revive that trust. They skip intros, we every frame. You watch shows, we decode the game. They don't die like us, nah, they don't die like us.
She cracked Severance before y'all knew it was deep. Predicted the Last of Us deaths in her sleep. When the camera pans, she ain't blinking once. Catch a ghost in the glass, call it theory punch. Watch parties lit like apocalypse nights. Call-ins while they bringing alien rights.
Hey Julie, I think the trees are spies. Well, I have a spreadsheet that confirms that, guys.
Zoom in, boom in, she moving through clues. Spinning Discord in the courtrooms, Lord of views. Got mods with receipts. Time stands with heat. Every rewatch turns into a Reddit elite. You stuck on the surface, we beneath with maps. Cross-referencing lore with the rector's caps. If your fave show got secrets, don't be dumb. Julie got the chalkboard out in From's where it's from.
They don't dive like us, they don't vibe like us. They skim the edge, we inside that crust. They zone out, we zone in the pain. You say plot twist, we say nope, chain. They don't dive like us, nah, they don't dive like us. What's that?
That ain't a blooper, that's a plot thread. You thought it was a shadow? She thought it was a coded message from season 3. And she's probably right. Step this way if your mind's unbent. Step that way if your theories pay rent. Say Julie B, deep dive queen. Now zoom, scroll, theorize, pull. Ain't no rabbit hole safe once she got the cloud.
They don't die like us.
Hey, welcome to Julie B Deep Dives with Pandecolima, aka Carl, and we're diving into episode 4 of the Institute. It was quite an eventful episode for the mid-season mark, so there's a lot to discuss here. I had some channel business that had me tied up and some self-care, but the channel business was, it was pretty, it was worth the time, let's say. It was worth the time because now I'm going to be able to drop my interview with Keith David from Duster and from countless other things tomorrow morning. So I'm so psyched to get that out there for everybody to see. And it's ready. I made all the edits I needed to make. So now all I have to do is just schedule it for tomorrow. And other than that, I'm continuing to work on my deep dives on episodes 3 and 4 of the Institute. But tonight we're going to be covering episode 4, breaking it down live. And I'm psyched to get into it. And I thought this was a solid episode. I think it was an improvement on, honestly, on the first 3 episodes. I think this one is it's got me intrigued. I find it really interesting, seeing how it's progressing now and how their powers are progressing, how he was almost astral projecting him. The kids were almost astral projecting themselves into the back half, which was not something I expected at all. It was cool. What did you think of the episode, Carl?
Yeah, same thing. Like, you finally start to see what they can do. Maybe we'll eventually, I want to know what these keyholes are all about and what, and now you see that Luke can see like into the future a little bit too. So it's cool to talk about that. It's
Yeah,
precognition.
it looks like precognition is happening now,
Yeah.
which is that's been teased for the first 3 episodes. Really, all 4 really. It's been teased, calling it PC, but it's pretty clear that it means precognition. So we're finally seeing that in action. Yeah. So see who's been in the chat. I had to move the time, so we've got some messages here from earlier. Jackson Rains was here. Dieter was here earlier. And I'm doing okay. He's asking how we're doing. How are you doing, Carl?
Oh, I'm living the dream, as it were. Living the dream.
Nice. Yeah. Dieter, say thank you for the reminder. I always forget to say, please hit the like button. That would be much appreciated and helps people find the stream. Also, if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. I'm trying to reach 2,000 subscribers and I'm at 1.94K right now. So I'm getting there bit by bit. Let's see. So I'm gonna scroll down a bit through some of these old ones. Amy, I see Amy was here earlier. She's also back at the end of the chat too. Hey, Amy. The temperature went down here finally. So I know Amy's in Texas, so it's probably hot nonstop. The heat wave broke here, so it was much better. Oh, I forgot about the night knockers. I forgot to say hi night knockers, because that's what we've decided to call ourselves here in the live streams for the night knockers, the fan group.
Yeah,
So
bring out the night knockers.
yeah. Hey night knockers. Hi Doc. Steve said better get your temp guns ready to gauge the temp on your night knockers. Yeah. Inside joke from yesterday. If you were not in the chat for yesterday's live or listening, it was a pretty strange tangent we went down, let's say. I saw Sprinkle Kitty was here earlier in the chat. Now, thanks for coming back and waiting. Appreciate it. Also, welcome. I don't think I've seen you before. Sprinkle Kitty said, I hope she could do the live stream. I missed the others, so I've been watching them a lot. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate the interest. I'm wondering how you found us, how you found the channel. If it was just a recommended video, were you looking for institute content and this came up or something? I'm curious. Maybe you found it through one of my scripted institute videos, because I think those pop up more than the live streams do. If you're searching for content on a show, it's those scripted videos that pop up, not really live stream replays. So yeah, I'm just wondering, curious how you found this channel, but thank you so much for your interest and for hanging around and waiting. I don't know what time it is where you are, but it's 12:54 a.m. here on the East Coast, but I happen to be a night person, so this isn't that unusual for me. I do try to start lives earlier than this. Lately, stuff has been getting in the way, holding me up a bit, but I'm always awake at this time. I just normally start the lives earlier. It's not always going to be this late. I promise. I keep saying I'm going to fix that, but lately it's just been kind of crazy. Hopefully next week we'll be back to normal and we'll start earlier on Monday night, which is the normal night when we do these lives. We're supposed to be doing them Monday nights at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, and there's been some issues with me having to reschedule them, but next week we're going to go back to Monday, provided nothing else happens out of the ordinary for me. But anyway, Steve said, be right back. Got to cut a pineapple. And that's not euphemism for anything weird, Dieter. Just cutting a pineapple and then might go temp my balls. Okay. Another, it's another inside joke from last night, if anybody's confused. You had to be there, I think. No, how will I keep number 2 with you competing with me? Yeah. Yeah, the king of XP, Steve here, is going to make it difficult. Carl said, how the hell did Dieter get 375 XP already? Yeah, I think people do get it from coming early to the chat. I think that's what happens.
Yeah, I think that must be the key, huh? As soon as you post and then just spam it up, China, China, China.
Yeah, maybe dropping the China in the chat seems to be a secret code word. I don't know. Hey, Vibrant Numerals. Is this a channel here? Vibrant Numerals. Doc said, oh, you have a cool channel. Welcome. I don't know if you're still here, but welcome if you are, or if you come back for the replay. Yeah, I have health issues that cause me to have to push live times back sometimes for self-care reasons. So between running a channel and juggling everything is difficult with the health issues I have. So, yeah. So, oh, so you do have a channel. We'll have to find the link to the channel and drop the link for you. And I'll check it out myself too later. Oh, excited to finally be able to make one. Thank you for the interest too. This is awesome. I'm curious. I don't know if you're still here, but yeah, anyone new, like you guys, I'm curious to know where you found the channel. If you found it through my scripted videos or through, by browsing and finding them that way. Oh, Doc was a step ahead of me. Thank you, Doc, for doing that, for dropping the link to Vibrant Numerals. Yeah, if you're interested in numerology, check out that channel. Very cool. We're always happy to help anybody who pops into the chat. You've got a channel. And as long as it's not about anything crazy and, something, I don't know. There might be some kind of toxic channel that might come in here someday, and I'm like, I don't think I want to promote that. Like, I don't know, some kind of offensive channel that's hateful toward any group of people. That's the only thing I can think of that I would not want to help in any way. But otherwise, happy to support anybody who comes through. We'll have a mod drop the link to your channel so that people can check it out. Because I believe in content creators uplifting each other. Anyway, Doc said, I'm really behind in the book. I'm at what would be the beginning or middle of episode 3. There are scenes they thankfully skipped for the show. Yeah, I've heard that there was some kind of more messed up things in the book than in the series. And they also aged up the kids from 12 to 14, making it a little less disturbing, but still disturbing that they're experimenting on and torturing these kids. I guess they're trying to make it a little more palatable. So if you're new here, anyone who did find the channel and you haven't caught a live and you're new to things, we're normally doing these lives on Mondays, but a couple times we've had to reschedule. But next week, I'm hoping to resume the normal schedule Monday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern for the rest of the season. So for the next few episodes until it's over. And I'm doing deep dive videos every week. I'm a bit behind on my coverage, but I'm going to be able to get episode 3's deep dive out this week and hopefully episode 4 by Saturday. I hope. If not, then early in the week, and I'll be caught up. And then I'll just put out one at a time each week till the season ends. It's only an 8-episode season, so it won't be that much longer. We're halfway through already. Unfortunately, I wish we'd get 10 episodes. Hey, Noah, nice to see you. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. It's awesome to see you from Quality Reacts community. And let's see. Sprinkle Kitty came back. So glad to see you, Kelly. Hey, Kelly. And Amy. Amy, I'm feeling a bit better. Yes, thank you for asking. The first part of the week was pretty brutal, but I am feeling a bit better with some self-care. Hey, with Dallas, nice to see you. Thanks, Kelly. I'm looking forward to posting the interview. I'm really psyched about it. I made some edits that I think really improved the quality of it. There were some things I wasn't happy about on my end that I I found a great solution to and made some edits, and I'm really happy with the final product. Certain things that, you learn as you go, hiccups. But every time you do these kinds of things, you learn something from it that you can take to the next experience. Sprinkle Kitty, it's like that power that 11 has. Yeah, there are a lot of parallels to Stranger Things with this show for sure. Oh yeah. Doc said, I think because Luke is playing them, I think they're going to keep making him more powerful, and then the Institute will have real problems. Yeah, I think so. Luke is going to be a big issue because they've never had anyone as smart as him. He's the smartest kid they've ever had, and I think Avery is the most powerful, and the two of them are putting their heads together. So, oh, good. You're still here, Vibrant Numerals. Awesome. So tomorrow morning, I'm thinking I will debut. I'm going to probably debut it early morning. I might even do it in the overnight hours. I'm not sure. But keep an eye out for my Keith David interview. Make sure you have your notifications turned on. I'm really psyched to share it with everybody. Had a nice little conversation with him, and I was told that when he has new projects announced, upcoming projects that are announced, I can get in touch with his agent and do another interview. So that made me happy. It was really an honor to do it. Sprinkle Kitty said, I'm new here, but I think I saw you on Reels Lives. That's how, oh, okay. And looking for the Institute recaps. Nice. Yeah, thanks. I was curious. Yeah, I used to be on Real Enigmas Lives. That's right. That's actually how I got my start in terms of like spending a copious amount of time talking on a live stream. I would spend like an hour and a half on his lives a year ago, or a little over a year ago. I'd call in and just stay on the phone for an hour and a half. Yeah. Let's see. The 18-hour stream was crazy. What 18-hour stream? I had if you're talking about my stream, I had a 12-hour stream, which I know is nuts. I did that in May. I'm not going to be doing anything like that anytime soon. I can promise you that. But it was cool to say I did it. The chat disappeared from what I posted before the time changed. It was just spam. Oh, okay. I guess when I change the time, that happens. You're not alone in this maze of mystery and mind games. Every theory, every clue, every connection brings us one step closer. Stay sharp, Institute fam. We're in this together. A pep talk, an AI pep talk for the fandom. Okay. All right. Thanks for that, Dieter. Chickadee China, the Chinese chicken. Oh, yeah. Classic lyric from that Bare Naked Ladies song, right, Steve? 1 week. That was a favorite of mine. That's classic. That brings back memories. I hate autocorrect. Yeah, we got you. Close enough. Dieter, thanks for dropping the link to Vibrant Numerals channel again. For the people who didn't see that earlier in the older part of the chat, appreciate it. Check that out. Nightman LOL, tip sat down, Pandecolima. Cool. A little weird, but not crazy or toxic. Oh, okay. Yes. A little weird is fine. Nothing wrong with being a little weird. I mean, all of us have things that are a little weird about us, don't we? And I think if you don't, then you're probably not that interesting of a person. So, no, but I'm thinking like toxic, hateful people. Those are the only people who I wouldn't support, and other than that, I'm happy to support any content creator who comes through here. Steve, there's a book. Yes, there's a book. Yes, and I know you know that. Kelly said, I want to read the book, but don't want to spoil the show, so we'll probably wait. Yeah, same. I wouldn't want to spoil it at this point. Right, like if Professor Kaiju comes in here with his anti-exilian content, we will not promote it. I'm JK. But Professor Kaiju is my arch enemy. Oh, okay, Doc. Yes. Gotcha. Any news about From Nightman? No, I haven't heard a thing. And I don't even have to go around looking because someone will tell me. Someone will I'll hear about it. Someone will tell me, so it'll get through the grapevine to me, and I haven't heard anything. So, but I mean, the good news is they are hard at work filming right now. I know that much. We haven't gotten any updates on, little tidbits of pictures being leaked, but pictures being posted from backstage by the actors. We haven't seen anything like that. But, at least they're working on it. So that's as good as we can hope for at this point. Dieter said, yes, I'm giving a book. Yes. When I set up the live early, so hopefully for next week, we'll do a book giveaway of the Institute. Thank you very much for that, Dieter. That was generous of you. So Black Hippie is reuniting. What's Black Hippie, Noah? Carl, do you know who Black Hippie is? Does that ring any bells? I've never heard of Black Hippie.
No, but I'm sure there were some black hippies back in the day.
Yeah, I'm sure there were. Yeah, Noah, who is that exactly? I don't know who that is. Hey, beautiful peoples. Hello, beautiful peoples. Hi, Shadow Skulk. Nice to see you. Hope you're doing well tonight, and your pain is as managed as possible. I know it's not easy. You know what that's like. So, let's see what else. Oh yes, Doc. Absolutely. Doc made a song, Night Knockers, after our fandom name for our fan group. So I thanks for reminding me. With my lousy memory, I need reminders. So I will be happy to play your song, your awesome song that you made. That would be great. I mean, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. Yeah, if you'd like me to play the audio, I could do that. And then when you make a lyric video, I'll play that next time, whenever you have it ready anyway. Doesn't have to be fancy at all. Something visual to go with it would be cool, though. I'd love that. Oh, a Kendrick Lamar group. Wait, is it really? If there's something related to Kendrick Lamar, then I need to know about it. I'm going to be looking that up. Thank you for the tip off on that. I'm a little out of the loop in what's going on with Kendrick and hip hop related news lately. Just been so busy with channel stuff and life stuff. So thanks for the tidbit there. I'll have to look that up. Talking about Kendrick Lamar, where's the rap recording? I will get there. I have a bunch of really important things I'm crossing off my to-do list right now, but that's got to be next after those really pressing things are out of the way for sure. Dieter made some AI photos with Steve. Oh, cool, Amy. Amy made a rock song. Check that out when you have a chance. Amy makes awesome songs too. And tonight on FROMacademy, Friday night on FROMacademy, we'll show Gabrielle's cameo that she got from Doug Hughes, the man in yellow. So we'll do that. Okay, so let's start breaking down the episode. Let me get out my pictures and my notes. So the episode 4 is called The Box, which is short for the Dream Box, the infamous Dream Box. We got to see the inside of that after it was teased how horrific it is. Yes, hopefully more interviews. Yes, that's another thing on my to-do list. Thanks for reminding me that. That's an easy enough thing to do. I'm going to send out some emails to see if I can get some interviews for the Institute, actually. So that's next on my list as well. A few things I need to cross off. Boom, boom, boom. So that's one of them. Thank you for that. Anyway, so we've got a cafeteria scene with these two who are really working together a lot now. The smartest kid, Luke, and the kid with the most powers, Avery, the new kid. So I think they make a really strong team. And the two of them together are a formidable combination. They're talking about how Luke is worried about Shaw possibly being dead. Avery reads his mind and knows that. So he's like, don't think that way. And Luke, it's kind of gets frustrated with it. I mean, it's got to be kind of annoying when you've got a mind reading kid constantly in your head. But he promises that he won't he won't think the worst. And they leave it like that. Then we have some twin girls show up dressed identically. Very weird vibe I got from this. I mean, they're so grown up to be dressed in identical outfits. You usually put identical outfits on much younger children, and yet here they are. And there's something creepy about twins who are dressed identically. My mind immediately goes to The Shining. And now, of course, that's another work of Stephen King, just like The Institute is. So I don't know. Maybe there's something about him, and there's something with Stephen King and his twin kids dressed in identical clothes. It's a trope that he likes to go back to, I guess. These are not identical twins. I can tell. They look a lot alike, but they appear to be fraternal twins. One is slightly taller than the other. Her face is slimmer. I mean, that could be for other reasons, but like her facial structure is slightly different. So they appear to be fraternal twins, but regardless, very much alike and wearing identical clothes. And yeah, odd. They just randomly show up. We have a weird turnover of kids being moved to the back half so quickly, and then new kids showing up. It's odd. I wasn't expecting that. I didn't think that they'd rotate the cast of kids so quickly in this show and then bring in new ones. It's an unexpected formula, but I guess I've heard from multiple sources that this is only supposed to be a limited series, one season. So maybe that's why the pace is moving so fast and characters are being, pushed out of the way sooner. There's some article though out there that says something about one of the creators, or no, not creators, but somebody who works for MGM or something like that, saying something about next season or something, setting up season 2. I forget the wording. Doc is the one who said something about it. He read something like this, and I don't know. Multiple sources have said limited series, so that's what I'm assuming at the moment. But these kids are named Greta and Gerda. Very similar. I mean, I don't know why anybody would name their twins almost identical names. That would drive me nuts. Like, you want to be an individual and not just, almost a carbon copy of someone else, even down to your name. That's weird. But regardless, they come and meet the kids, and the girls are oddly calm. I mean, I wouldn't be that calm if I just woke up in a strange place and I've been abducted. They're completely chill, and and as usual, the trio here, the 3 people running the place, are watching them on cameras like creeps. They tell the twins that the weird feeling passes mostly. Waking up there, how weird it feels. And yeah, so they just keep watching them on camera, and yeah, I don't think this is. Somebody told me that this is just the same. This is one actress, and they're making it look like it's 2. No, I don't think so. They look completely. They have different shaped faces and everything. Those are 2 different girls for sure. Anyway, a punk kid shows up. We find out later his name is Harry, I think. What is it? Harry? Is it Harry? I think his name is Harry. I just want to make sure, because I don't want to just call him the wrong thing for half of the notes here. Where is it? Is it Harry? They don't say his name much this episode. And then by the end, he's already gone. Let's see. Yeah, I
You want,
can't.
you want
Oh,
me
I
to
found
find?
it.
Oh, okay.
I found it. His name is Harry. Okay. Yeah. Harry. Who the hell is named Harry? What kid is named Harry anymore? That's another weird thing. That's such an old man thing. Stephen King wrote this, so he gave him an old man name. You should know better. Kids are not named Harry anymore. But anyway,
You would think it was like an old Stephen King property, but it's not, right? This is written in like 2019, right?
yes, it is. It's weird, but uh so he shows up and he's like yelling and belligerent. Where the hell am I? As if these kids have something to do with it. There's something creepy about this mirror image look of the twins, and they're both looking the same way, in the same direction. Their hair is pulled forward in both cases. Yeah, it's a weird vibe. It gives you an off-putting vibe. Anyway, yeah, this idiot shows up and he's taking out his frustration on these kids. It made no sense to me. Avery tries to talk to him and he shoves him out of the way, which they're not happy with because they're protective of that kid. Stackhouse starts to leave to intervene as they're watching on camera, and Sigsbee stops him, says, "Let's wait and see what they do." Like, these people are sociopaths. They really don't care at all about the well-being of these children in the least. And then Stackhouse shows that he doesn't care at all. He wasn't leaving because he's concerned, because he says, "What if they get damaged?" That's a strange way to refer to human beings, like they're objects instead of people. It's dehumanizing. What if they get damaged? Yeah, they're just they're commodities to him, to be sold to the highest bidder, as we find out later. Like, that's basically what Hendricks admits that's what he's doing, that he's going to basically sell Luke to the highest bidder. So yeah, these are all sociopaths. And Sigsbee says, "We're seizing on an opportunity to observe their responses to stress. Call it a calculated risk." So she's looking at them like guinea pigs. Disgusting. The kids introduce themselves. Nikki tells him to apologize to Avery, but he refuses. He, Nikki, he won't. I still cannot stand calling this guy Nikki. It's just, he's not a little boy. But anyway, the names on this show irk me. He warns Nikki to move. Nikki refuses, starts to charge at him. Harry starts to charge at him. Meanwhile, these idiots are just watching on camera, and they even have a security staff member close by who just does nothing. Yeah, I like how Nikki here is protective of the other kids, including this smallest kid. It's Nikki, he could be a smartass, but he's not an asshole. There's a difference. Nikki can be kind of a dick at times, kind of just negative about everything, but he cares about these other kids. He's not an asshole like this guy, like this young man. But so they kind of have a face down, and Nikki charges Harry charges at Nikki, and then George pulls a really cool move, actually, where he takes his tray and trips him. He does like a fancy little move there. He just jumps into the middle of that area, flings his tray out there, and Harry does a face plant right on the floor. And Nikki just holds him down, and that's the end of that. And this security guy just stands there and does nothing in the background. Nice. Just leaving the kids to their own devices when one of them is being attacked or attacking the others. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, he's over there like TSA, thousands standing around.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, idiot. So yeah, then they tell the kid he's at the institute, and they start to talk to him, but he's getting nauseous, and I don't know why he can't. So he's nauseous. So what? They put his arms around their shoulders and like lead him outside to puke. It's like, you can't walk right because you have to puke. I just found that the writing of that was a little weird, but whatever. They take him outside to puke, and which he does. I guess the stress of all of this. Oh man, you could actually see like the puke flying out of his mouth in that screenshot. That was nasty. Anyway.
Oh, I missed that. Did he puke? He puked more than once? Oh, what a
Yes.
loser.
Yes, twice in the same episode. Yep. So I mean, later, at least, it was after he got shots administered to him with that mystery chemical, but in this case, I guess it was just stress. And they again demand that he apologize to Avery, and this time he actually does. And Stackhouse and Hendricks show up to take him to see Sigsbee, or maybe just Stackhouse and a security guy, rather, take him to see Sigsbee. So they exit, which is how they did things with Luke. They let the other kids, what's her name, Shaw, initiate him, and then they came to get him after. So Luke reads, so wait a minute. Something in my notes is confusing me. Luke reads the kid's mind, knows something his coach had told him, and his coach's name. Oh, okay, yeah. So Luke had read Harry's mind, and he knows something that his coach had told him, and he knows his coach's name. So Avery realizes that Luke is TP, as in telepathic now. Luke knew he'd been thinking about football and all that. So Luke tells Avery to be quiet and says he didn't tell them because he was hoping it wasn't real. And now he has to hide it, because if he gets sent to back half, they're screwed. Their plan would be shot. So he's got to go on like nothing's changed. And Avery will keep looking for Shaw in his head. And he's got to be there to help with the plan. So there's that scene. Then there's the police station scene where Tim is talking about Annie's murder. And it's obvious that it was a murder. But yeah, they're not really responsive to what he's got to say. He tells the chief and the other two on this, Mayberry, in this little Mayberry operation, that an OD just doesn't fit here with Annie. The chief says that Annie was batshit crazy, and Tim says Annie thought crazy was her superpower. She wanted to feel everything. But the chief is just really dismissive, saying she thought the earth was flat too. And Tim also notes that she was never high and she was never caught stealing booze. Annie had told him that mind-altering substances dulled the sharpness of her purpose, which is why she wouldn't take antipsychotics. So he's making really good points. The chief says that she put up a good front, but you know what life on the street means, even around here. A lot of homeless people do have really bad mental illnesses. So he's right about that, but Tim is making excellent points, and they should be looking into this more. Tim asks about a tox screen, and toxicology, that is, and the chief says that they'd have to go through the state's crime lab in Augusta. So in addition to the $3,700 this department doesn't have, they wouldn't see the results for 3 weeks, and he'd still consider it because he thinks it would be a waste of time and money, when he already knows what the report would say. So he doesn't see the point. They're going to waste 3 weeks looking into this and spending money they don't have. But I don't know. I think maybe the chief is in on it, and he's in on the cover up. I don't think his justifications are good enough. The way he's acting, he's just so dismissive. So I don't know. Annie said once that maybe the chief's in on it. Maybe they're all in on it. And I don't think she's correct in that. I don't think all of them are in on it. I think Wendy probably is not. But the chief and this other cop, Drew, may be in on some kind of cover up regarding the Institute. The chief, let's see, he's yeah, Tim says he doesn't like this, and the chief says, I don't give a Frenchman's fuck what you like, which is a colorful way to put it. I thought that was funny. He says that he knows Tim feels a personal connection to this because of his family history, but there's no there. And the last night knocker, Ed Whitlock, thought he saw all kinds of shit walking the beats. It does something to your mind. He orders Tim to take a night off to catch up on sleep. And he shouldn't be running around playing cop when his job is to walk around making sure the doors are locked and people are safe inside at night. Tim leaves in a huff. Wendy kind of gives the chief a look like, should I follow him? He nods, so she goes after him. Then there's an interesting exchange of looks. I watched this back a couple times. The chief kind of gives this side eye at the other cop, Drew, and then Drew gives him a look, and neither of them say anything. And I just had to wonder if they know something, if they're in on a cover-up regarding the Institute. It's possible. The way they exchange looks and the way he refused to look into Annie's death being potential murder, I have to wonder. What do you think about that, Carl? Could they be in on a cover-up?
Well, I think, you know how it's kind of like a trope. If Annie said it, right? If she said it, then it's probably true.
Right. That's what I'm thinking.
So yeah, especially with those looks and whenever somebody's shutting something down like that in TV shows, it's like, oh, okay, this person's, wanting to keep him away from the truth.
Right, exactly. Trying to rush this investigation to be closed too soon. Yeah, I think so. And like Tim said about his mother, there was always a kernel of truth in what she said, even though she was delusional. And Annie said maybe they're all in on it. That's where we get into delusional territory. I think some of them are in on it. And it could be these two, most likely. So I don't think Wendy is, though. Wendy follows him out and says that basically the chief was mad because he thought Tim was just trying to show the Hicks what a big city cop would do. Mad about him pushing and looking into this. So she told him about Tim's mom being mentally ill so that he'd understand. And she apologizes for that, for sharing that personal detail that he shared with her. He says that Annie did an OD. He's still maintaining that. And Wendy admits that she never saw Annie drink. And she gives him the little tidbit of info that her tent is still up. And a crew from the dump is coming to haul it away, but they can't get there till the next day. This is why a big reason why I don't think she's in on a cover up, among other reasons. But she's helping him try to get at that truth before they, bury it, before they bury the evidence. So yeah, I think she's not in on anything. Then at the Institute, Hendrix and Stackhouse, they watch Sigsbee leave on their security cameras. Hendrix tells Tony on a walkie-talkie to fetch the Ellis boy and says he'll meet him on B level. So these two are up to their shady shenanigans together now. They have their own side deal going on, trying to develop Luke's precognition ability. And then they'll sell that to the highest bidder, him. They'll sell him essentially to the highest bidder, because they're not supposed to be even looking into precognition anymore. So they're doing this on the sly.
It sounds like slavery, Julie. That sounds pretty bad, or child trafficking.
It does. Yes, it really does. These are horrible people. They really are. And now they've got Tony in on it, so I'm not surprised. Tony is a horrible person too. He takes Luke to the dream box room. So it's really too soon for him to be doing this. They're fast tracking it to try and fast track the development of his TP and also precognition. So it says dream box in use, no entry without special clearance. And Luke said he thought that well, first Hendrix says this is the essential heart of what we do here. This goes to why you're here. You should be excited. Yeah, real excited to be a guinea pig in this horror show that is the dream box. It's the stuff of nightmares. It pulls from the kid's darkest fears and horrifying nightmares, and that's what Shaw described it as essentially, and that's what he experiences now. And Luke says he thought this was supposed to be the last thing before going to the back half. But Tony tells him that sometimes there are special cases. Hendrix says, think of it as garbage day. We're going to show you some images that are going to help you clean house. You may have noticed that your psychic power is activated by physical pain. Our conundrum is that joining the hum requires divorcing yourself from your body, which makes physical pain counterproductive. The solution, psychic pain. Keep in mind, as soon as you connect to the hum, all the pain stops. So it gives them more incentive to just give in and let it happen. Don't fight the process, because then all of the psychic pain that they're going to experience in this thing will stop. He's strapped into this chair that's kind of like a dentist chair. We've seen this in the opening credits before, but this is the first time it was shown on the series, and it's pretty unsettling, the whole thing. There's the way he's strapped in by his wrists and legs, and they put electrodes on his head, and he's a tall kid when he's standing up, but you're reminded of how he really is just a kid in sneakers and jeans, being strapped in here to be experimented on and tortured with. I mean, this is psychological torture, what they're doing to him. It's horrible. This is by far the worst thing that they did up to this point anyway. But what they did by the end of the episode, I think, was even worse. But Tony injects him again with that weird green liquid, and he's strapped in, and they turn the thing on. His chair starts spinning around, and he's shown disturbing, weird, random images that are kind of pulled from his subconscious. It's really trippy, and it's individual to every person that goes into this thing. You see like distorted faces and colors, all kinds of weird garbled sounds in the background while they're looking on, and then there's like one of the images is this bird flying into the camera and like splattering blood all over the camera lens, which I couldn't get a screenshot of, but that was weird. And it just gets worse after that. Oh yeah, I think I took another one because I was trying to get it out, but I still couldn't, the bloody part. But anyway, Yeah, the images get more disturbing. The faces alone are creepy and warped. And Luke is like moaning and, he's suffering through all this. There are a bunch of buildings burning down. He sees that. Maybe his family had some kind of fire. Who knows? This is really gross. What the fuck? What are these instruments poking an eyeball? That's nasty.
As you zoom in.
As I zoom in on it, it's gross. And then this is flies on, I'm guessing, a dead animal. That's gross.
Isn't that like a little bunny rabbit?
Oh no, I hope not. Not a bunny rabbit. And then there's a wolf attacking. So maybe these are triggering images from his past for him specifically. They're pulling stuff from his subconscious. That's what Shaw. Ew, yeah. I'm gonna go by this quickly. It looked like a wolf eating a carcass of something. Shaw said that this is like your own. I forget how she put it, but it was like, your own horror show pulled from your own head, your own personal horror show or something like that. Psychological torture.
Oh, is that what she said? That's how she described it? The dream box?
Yes. Yes. Yep. Before she was moved out of front half, she told them about that. And then there's his dad saying, remember, what they say about the abyss, don't you? You look into it, it looks back into you. It looks right back into you. And I knew that was a significant line when he said it in the first episode. That's a reference to a famous Nietzsche quote about if you stare long into the abyss stares back at you, something to that effect. It's about confronting inner demons and other kinds of darkness that can change you as a person if you are not careful. Just being in proximity to darkness or confronting darkness within yourself can change you for the negative, for the worse, if you're not careful.
There's been like people that look into PDF files and all that kind of stuff, like the investigators. It really fucks with them,
I bet. So that what his father said, that's a theme of the show. I took that to be a theme of the show, that this is something that Luke would have to grapple with personally, because Luke was talking about how there was so much he felt like he needed to learn, and he was standing on the edge of an abyss or a chasm, and all of these things that he didn't know were coming out of it, were like they were down there waiting for him, and all, he gets close to the edge and all of it starts to come up out of the chasm, and he wants to learn all of this stuff. He feels this drive to learn about the unknown, but there's always a risk, confronting darkness coming out of that abyss, that it could change him for the worse. And so what he's doing with exploring his psychic abilities and being in proximity to the dark forces of the Institute, the people in charge of this place, that it could change him for the worse. That's something he has to be careful to avoid. So that, I think that's an important theme of the show. And that's why it's coming back up again. I'm not surprised at all that this quote came back up in the dream box of all places, where he's confronting his inner demons from his own psyche. Just like what Shaw said, that makes total sense that this quote from his father would pop up here. This is something that he has to grapple with, not being changed and, becoming a dark force himself by being in this place. His mother also pops up, saying, your brain is a gift. Your brain and what it can do is a gift. She also said that at that last dinner together. His brain can be a gift, but it can also be a curse. What he can do, it is psychic abilities and his genius. It can be a blessing and a curse. That's why he's here in the first place, because he's so gifted and has all these abilities. It doesn't feel like so much of a gift right now, or he wouldn't be suffering in this place. And he's suffering this emotional torment and like crying out as if he's in pain while all this is going on, which is interesting. It's truly psychological torture that they're putting him through. So on that cheery note, let's take a look at the chat before I continue with the next section. I mean, this is a dark show. This is a really dark show. This is way darker than I expected it would be. And I knew what we were getting into with the synopsis of this show being what it is, but still, it's intense. I wasn't expecting it to go to dark places quite this extreme with children involved, I gotta say. But here we are. So Samuel's like, what the hell? I'm about to eat some dicks right now. Burger joint. Thanks for that clarification there, Samuel. Alrighty then. Burger joint. Anyway. Oh, so Dix is in Spokane, Carl. That's cool. It's and he's in Samuel's in Seattle. Cool.
Yeah, the original one is in Seattle, but there's also a Dick's in Spokane.
Why do people name their businesses Dick's? There's also Dick's Sporting Goods around here.
I think it's because they're so old. I think both of those businesses started a long time ago. And if anyone, reverting back to hip hop, if everyone's ever listened to Sir Mix-a-Lot's My Posse's on Broadway, he goes to Dick's. There's a line in the song where he goes to Dick's for some burgers.
Oh, okay. So it's been around a while. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Nobody names their kid. Nobody uses the nickname Dick anymore. Have you noticed that's done? It's over. If your name is Richard, your nickname is Rich or Rick. No. Anyway, Doc said I haven't seen anything about a sequel. Must have been someone else. I have ideas for where they could probably go with the season 2, depending on how the story ends for the book or season 1. Okay, cool. Steve said I have a theory for what's happening on the show, but the 200 character limit. Oh, this is this theory you've been teasing for days, Steve. Okay, I'm intrigued. But the 200 character limit is going to make it impossible to type into the chat. Well, you know what you could do, Steve? You can always put your whole theory into the Discord Institute channel, and then we can look at it in there. I can look at it and read it from there if you want. You're welcome to do that. And so we can always, if you have trouble fitting it all into the chat here, we can always talk about it on the next live when you have a chance to write it in the Discord. We do that with the FROMacademy lives too, sometimes with long form theories. Shadow Skulk said those are 2 different kids. My family has a lot of twins. My grandma and her twin looked dressing alike, even in old age. Oh, really? They loved dressing alike and confusing people in the bond they shared. Donna and Dorothy. Oh, that's so cool. That's cool that they're. See, I like when people name their twins both names that begin with the same letter. Donna and Dorothy. That's cute. They're different enough. But Gerda and Greta, that's too similar. That sounds way too much alike, and it would get confusing. I think that's too close for me. But those are beautiful names. That's awesome. Donna and Dorothy. Sprinkle Kitty said Harry acts a lot like an 80s bully too. I couldn't take him seriously when he kept asking everyone who the fuck everyone was. Me too. He was cringe. And I say was because I don't know if we'll see him again, but he's just too cliched. Yeah, so aggressive, Kelly. I feel like that character is just way too cliched. Doc said, I noticed that King's newer books show he became a bit out of touch with modern society and culture. Yes, Doc, I'm noticing that too. Susie, hey, Susie. I said, I hope Carrie is in the back rooms. Carrie. Carrie. Are you talking about Carrie from the other Stephen King book? Like there's an intersection. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's who she's talking about.
Oh, okay. See, I don't know enough about the Carrie story to know what the connection would be. I have never read the book or nor did I see the movie yet, actually. Shadow Skulk said 2 other sets of twins currently in my family, Mark and Matt, as well as Michaela and Mariah. See, those are different sounding names that start with the same letter that are alliterative. That's cool. I like that. Both liked dressing alike too. As adults, they will use each other's medical and dental insurance. Oh wow, that's if the other isn't currently covered. Hey, that's a nice perk. Nice. Good for them. I mean, dressing exactly alike would be interesting as adults, but hey, that could be fun. Dieter said, "What want more than just watching the Institute? Be part of the conversation. Like, share, and subscribe to Julie B. Deep Dives and Pandecolima's live stream, where theory meets passion." Thanks for that, Dieter. It's like a cult or religion fighting evil, and they do whatever it takes. Or is this hum thing more like Star Wars and the Force? I think it's probably more sci-fi based if I had to guess, but there's definitely a religious component though, for sure, because the mystery man on the phone that we've seen, the higher up guy who they talk to, he's holding rosary beads and he has a painting of Daniel and the lions from the Bible. So something religious going on here. And if you have any, if you're so inclined, if you would like, then to support the channel, then these are some ways to do it, like Dieter posted here. And those methods are also in the description of the video. There's the Cashapp and Venmo, which are just US only. And there's internationally, there's Buy Me a Coffee, which is so weird. I find it so odd that it's called that, but it's not literally just for coffee. And PayPal, the PayPal is in Dieter's name, but right now the money goes toward my channel expenses. So all that stuff is in the description of the video. And please hit the like button if you have not yet done so. I'd appreciate it. Yes, these are the other links that Dieter dropped for different ways to support, since the channel is not monetized, and so I'm not making money off my videos or able to do memberships or super chats. Those are just some ways to support in lieu of that. Doc said in the book they introduce a new girl before Avery shows up, and she isn't in the show, at least so far. No Harry or twins yet where I'm at in the book. Oh, okay. Reading the book at the same time as the show is an interesting way to go about it. Help Amy get more follows on SoundCloud. You can check out her awesome songs that she makes and follow Amy over there. Steve said, Dieter, can I share a screenshot of my theory via Imgur in the chat? Oh, yeah. Is that possible in here? I don't want to spam the chat 30 times trying to type out my theory because of the character limit. Well, you'd probably win the XP battle. Or is there an easier way to share it that you know of? Yes, in Discord. Carl had it right. Absolutely. You can do it that way. Doc said Harry seems to be having bad reactions to the sedatives and other stuff they're giving him. Some people have extra sensitive systems. Oh, right. When he woke up there the next morning, he had been just abducted the night before. So he was probably throwing up because of the chemicals that were in his body. Okay. The old Discord. Steve, you were doing pretty well with the watch party, at least in Discord, but I know it doesn't have a user-friendly interface. Shadow Skulk said some medications and sedatives can have the side effect of making people violent. Oh, okay. He still did it in a cliched kind of cringe-worthy way, though. I think. I don't think the acting was so great, to be honest. Dick Lord, new band name, called it. Nice, Doc. Steve said you have an AOL email, and I thought I was old. LOL. Yeah, I don't know anybody who still has an AOL email. Yeah, Carl. Carl, you have an AOL email? I got it as a fetus.
Yeah, it's AOL.com.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Pandecolima at AOL.com.
Wow. All right. You must have had that a long time, I'm guessing.
Yeah, when like I had dial up and you had to use a disc. Yeah.
Damn, that's a long time. I've switched over multiple times since those days. I had a Cox.com email. I had an AOL email too, but I ditched that ages ago. And then Yahoo, I used Yahoo Mail and then Gmail for many years now. But anyway, Shadow Skulk said I remember having to use the AOL disc and paying for AOL by the hour when I was a kid. Me too. Me too. Actually, I should add that to my title. Kaiju, Overlord, Mad Scientist, and Tick Lord. That's a unique one. Yes, that dial-up sound was cringe, Amy. Ayo hell, dial-up sound makes me shudder even thinking about it. Yeah, that was awfully grating on the ears. Steve said my first email was on AOL and it was Big Daddy Pimp. And whenever there was an issue, my mom would have to call them. It was so embarrassing to ask what the email was. Oh my God, Steve, you're too funny. What the hell? Big Daddy Pimp? Okay. Yeah, that would be kind of awkward to have to share with people. Yes, you've got mail when it connects to just disconnected right after goodbye. Yeah. Yeah. I remember that little voice. You've got mail. Goodbye. Yeah. there were all kinds of iconic little things about that, but it was frustrating to use. Steve said, I remember putting a pillow up to the modem when I would log on after midnight so my mom wouldn't hear the modem dialing and connecting. It sure as hell was loud, yes. It's like, yeah, it was really irritating. Sprinkle Kitty says, I feel like the police are in on it and that this institute interfered with Tim's flight and sent someone undercover to get him to town. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Maybe they wanted him specifically involved for some reason. Could be. I definitely think that either way, that some of the police are in on it. Absolutely. Dieter said, Steve, you could share links in here, no worries. And you can also do it in Discord. Yes, you can do that. You can share it however you'd like. You've got the wrench, I think. I think Steve has a wrench. Yes. So you can do that. Yeah. Trying to imitate the those awful noises of AOL.
Wait, what was that? Can you do that noise again?
Yeah. It's awful. Nails on a chalkboard. Shadow Skulk said, my mom taught me to use my birth month and day, but her birth year. That way, if I ever needed to confirm it again, I'd remember. Yeah, that's a good way. Oh, what the hell, Amy? Some stranger wanted my number once, and I gave them my grandma's number. I answered. He was moaning, and I hung up. Ew. God, people are freaks. With Alice said, not too smart for the sheriff to hire an ex-decorated cop if they're hiding something. Very true. Yes, great point. Doc said, tomorrow we will discuss how to spot a scammer and try to decide if Martin is using some known scammer techniques. Excellent. I'm really curious to hear about that. So our FROMacademy topic of the week will be Martin. Who or what is he? And is he a scammer? At 12:30 a.m. Eastern, Friday night. You've got mail. Yep. Also, that's the first time I've sent an email in like 12 years. So, yes, you've got mail, Carl. Dieter said, Steve or chat with Carl, all good. If you don't know how to post in Discord, use ChatGPT. Yeah, absolutely. Let me plug in my DSL modem, Steve. Yeah, you don't still have that, I hope, Carl. That's all in the past now.
Yeah, I've turned the page on some of that old technology. Like I went ahead and I didn't renew my my service to my pager.
Good. Get with the times now. Yes. Teeter said front half and back half sounds so dirty. Everything sounds dirty to you, Teeter. That'll be the back half of your front half any day, says Steve. As if the Institute has your mind racing, you're not alone. Join Julie P. Deep Dives and Pandecolima's live stream for brilliant breakdowns. Like, share, and subscribe. We deep dive together. Thanks, Dieter. Elgin, watch out. Oh, maybe that was Elgin's eye. Yeah, I mean, it made me think of From with the crow flying at the camera. Yeah, that gave me some From vibes too. So Steve put his theory there.
I was just gonna say real quick, Julie, all those images also, if anyone's like a Game of Thrones fan, that gave us Game of Thrones vibes too, with the crows and the wolves, because there's a point where characters warg into their wolves as well.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Cool. With Alice said poking the eye earlier could have been a visual of looking into the abyss. Oh. Yeah, yeah. Interesting with Alice. I like that. Okay. So let's see what else is going on here. And I can pull up Steve's theory as well and take a look at that. Okay. Shadow Skulk said, I still think knowing Stephen King and the look of the smoke from the back half, that is probably from a crematorium. Yikes, that's dark. Yeah, Dick is a nickname, indeed, but no one really uses it anymore. Nobody in younger generations use it anymore. Really? You've got a 39-year-old cousin, Richard, that goes by Dick? I don't know anybody who uses that anymore. Nobody, not a single soul I've ever met under the, outside of like the baby boomer, actually even older than baby boomer generation. Anyway, okay. Julie, I sent a screenshot of it in my notes app, and okay, you shared a screenshot of it and sent it to Carl too. Thanks, Steve. I'll take a look. My pain is not so great, Dieter. But I'm gonna do what I can to manage it. Let's see. She has the shine. Yeah, that shining concept, Susie. Absolutely. Susie said, I'm pretty sure the twins were just there to make it clear the kids here have having the shine, or maybe even the touch, right? Because that definitely gave me vibes from The Shining. Absolutely. So that was a shout out to The Shining for sure. Great point, Susie.
But the girls needed to say like, "Come play with us" or something, right? Isn't that what they say to the little boy in the Shining? Come play with us.
Yes, they say, "Come play with us forever and ever and ever." Creepy as hell. I still can't find my MySpace either, Susie. I want to find my old MySpace, but I can't recover my account because I don't use my old email that I had with my MySpace. So I'd like to just see it for just for nostalgic reasons. I loved my MySpace.
Was your first friend Tom?
Yes. Everybody's first friend was Tom. Hey, Trace. Trace had net zero. Oh, I remember hearing about net zero. I never had that. Doc said in the book, Avery was unconscious for the entire day and woke in the middle of the night. The Institute folk commented he would be out for a long time. I think that's why he wet himself. Oh, yeah. He wet himself when he first got there. He was unconscious for like 24 hours in the book. Wow, that's crazy. Susie says, fun fact, Stephen King is a deadhead, and there are many Grateful Dead references in his books. Oh, cool. Doc said in the books, with all the Stark kids with dire wolves would warg into their wolves in their sleep, except maybe Sansa, although it suggested that Sansa wouldn't admit to it if she did, if I recall right. Oh, okay. let's see. Susie said the shine in Stephen King universe is telepathic abilities. Yep, absolutely. So I loved that. I loved that creepy shining vibe with the twins. And they only made a brief cameo in the episode. I doubt we're going to see those girls again. So it was definitely just there to be a shout out, I think.
The Simpsons one was cool too. The Shining.
Yes, the shinning. That's one of my favorite episodes. Thanks, Dieter. I'm gonna try to do what I can to feel better. Come play with us, Danny. Yes. Anyway, oh yeah, all the pictures. MySpace used to be so customizable. I loved putting all kinds of, like, using HTML coding to put in pictures, and I you know, now I guess if you go and look at it, it would all be corrupted. Yeah, okay, good to know that I'm not missing anything.
Customizable and glitchy. There were certain people's MySpace you'd go onto and it would like crash your computer.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Mine would take a while to load because I would load it up with a lot of shit. Anyway, Doc said all the kids have better characters in the show than in the book. George has a different personality, and the TV version is way better, in my humble opinion. Oh, all right. I think it has flaws. It has some noticeable flaws, this show, but I'd say there's more positive than negative. Susie said, I've never read The Institute, but I've read a lot of other Stephen King books, and they are all connected. Yeah, they really are. Like, some of them, I think, really do take place in the same universe, so to speak. Susie said, I wonder if they're trying to create traumatic experiences to sort of jumpstart the kids' shine, because trauma tends to do that in all of the books with the shine. Maybe they are like an offset group of vampires, like the True Knot from Dr. Sleep. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I learned a bit of HTML coding from MySpace too, Susie. Yeah, it was cool. You could do that with LiveJournal as well. I had a LiveJournal. So let me see if I can I'm gonna see if I can pull up Steve's theory that he put in the chat here. Well, while I'm doing that, because this thing is slow as molasses, I'm gonna also get my notes back up, and we can keep breaking down the rest of the episode. Let's see, where did we leave off here? Episode 4 of the box. And okay, here we go. Okay, so then the next scene is Tim going through Annie's stuff at the tent. And thanks to Wendy's little tip-off, he gets there before the cops come and clear everything away. I'm kind of surprised they didn't actually move faster and do it with all this evidence here. But and he's just pawing through it and not using gloves either. You know, he was a cop. He should know better than to tamper with a crime scene like this. He finds a map of the Institute area in her stuff, and it shows the Denison River. It says Kelly Sloan down here and a phone number. So that's the mother of a girl named Zoe, who Annie believed was, it appears that she believed the Institute killed, that the Institute had something to do with Zoe's death, that she didn't just drown at the Red Steps. So there's Kelly's, that's the kid's mother's name. And there's, it says Heavy Woods, new fence. Up here, it says view of buildings and smoke. So she was referring to the smoke billowing out of the smokestacks up there. There's the Red Steps. That's what Wendy was talking about, how like 3 teenagers washed up. They washed up 3 days later after supposedly swimming out there when they were drunk or tipsy. I think that it was staged and made to look like an accident, and the Institute had something to do with their deaths. And then their bodies were dumped there 3 days later, because it sounds like there were no eyewitnesses. And that would be an easy way for them to make it look like an accident. There's a strong current there that can pull you under easily. And I find it super suspicious that the red steps are this close to the buildings and the smoke over here. View of buildings and smoke for the Institute. Clearly, that's what that is. So yeah, I'm sure the Institute had something to do with that. Down here, it says go left on Fire Road. So there are even some directions here. He's following those directions later. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. There's here it says guarded bridge. So this is what you want to avoid. You don't want to go that way. There's a bridge that's guarded by the security staff. And it looks to me like this is a way around that, so he can avoid the guards. Go left on Fire Road, and that's what he follows later. Then he finds a newspaper clipping. Teen drownings, the latest chapter in the deadly history of the Red Steps rock formation. Zoe Sloan was one of them, and I don't think this was an accident at all. This was just these 4 teenagers, not 3. I think I said 3 before, but yeah, they just made it look like an accident. I'm convinced of that. They must have abducted them, and for some reason, the tests caused them to die, whatever experimentation they were doing, and then they just dumped their bodies. He found a can with lipstick dried up on it, and so he's inspecting that. And then he also compares that to the bottle of alcohol that was found there, the empty bottle of vodka, which has no lipstick. It's a dead giveaway. She always wore lipstick, and she said she hadn't drunk till a specific day in 2003, that she had just told him that the night she was murdered. She also didn't take any mind-altering substances, so it's pretty clear that she didn't actually OD. Luke is back in his room after being tortured in the dream box. Avery goes to see him, and he says, I've got her, meaning he's connected to Shaw psychically. He can see her and everything. So he holds Luke's hand so that he can basically take Luke with him on this like astral projection kind of trippy journey into this back half. We actually get to see it, which I was not expecting. I mean, I thought we'd see a vision. Through Avery's eyes, but I didn't think they'd both be able to look at this together and interact with Shaw together. So it was actually really cool the way they handled this. I'm trying to find that link that Steve shared, and now I can't find it anymore in my YouTube tab.
I'll find it. You want me to like repost it?
Yeah, could you? That would be great.
DM you. You want me to send it, like drop it here in the chat?
Sure. Yeah, you can do that because I have it open right here.
Okay. I'll find it right now.
Okay, thanks. So in the meantime, so yeah, they hold hands and then they're able to connect to the back half, and you get to actually see it. It's dark and gloomy. They're all wearing coveralls like they're prisoners. And then they see Shaw right in front of them as if she's right there. And she could see them in Luke's room. So it's really weird. It's like his bed is now in the back half, including the nightstand and the shelves. She looks like hell. She has dark circles under her eyes. And she just kind of shows them around, gives them a little tour. Luke says Avery has had trouble reaching her, and she says, I guess I've been in sort of a daze since I got here. I guess everyone's sort of in a daze. So she's not mentally really tapped in, and he had trouble connecting with her as a result. She's still trying to be optimistic Like, do you think it's they make us wear these outfits because they're washing our clothes so we can wear them home? That's extremely naive. And Luke says it could be because uniforms promote community. That's why they're so popular with fascists and communists. I think Luke is a little closer to the truth there. They hear the hum in the background faintly. Avery can hear it, but Luke can't. And Shaw says, lucky you, when you're back here, it's pretty much the only thing you can hear. I think even the guards can feel it. Oh, and I know that makes it sound bad, but in a lot of ways, she's still such a ridiculous optimist. She's like, in a lot of ways, back half is so much better than front half. There's no more tokens, so candy, booze, smokes, it's all free. No more fucking dream box. No more tests. No more sensory deprivation tank. Pretty much all they do is gather us here for movie night. At least that's what they call it. It feels more like, you know, those Twitch games that grown men play? Think it's like Soldier or something. And Luke says, yeah, first person shooter. Now this is weird. So it's not actually a movie, like in the traditional sense. Movie night is something else. She says you're not shooting or doing anything, you're just living. Last night we were brushing our teeth, then we were driving, then we were doing doctor stuff like checking in on patients, giving injections, that sort of thing. That's really weird. And Luke says you were watching a screen the whole time, and she says actually the movie on the screen was from across the exam room. It sort of looked like the camera was filming from inside someone's shirt. I could only see the doctor's point of view when I closed my eyes. So they all had to kind of see it in their heads and use their mental psychic powers to see what they were supposed to see from this weird point of view shot movie. And you're brushing your teeth, or you're a doctor checking on patients. It's very odd. I'm not really sure what that's supposed to mean and why they're doing this, but to the kids, but that's how she describes it for now. That's all we know. And it drains them. It drains them for some reason. They're all in a daze as a result of it. They run into Iris, who looks like hell. She looks even worse. She's been there a bit longer. She's dazed and sickly, smoking, and like dropping her cigarette into her oatmeal, like haunted looking. She doesn't seem to recognize Luke at first, saying, "Who you got with you?" I mean, she didn't know Avery. He was new, but she seemed like she didn't know Luke either. And then she's like, sorry, I'm just tired. Avery says something's wrong inside her head, really wrong. He can sense these things with his extremely strong telepathy. So something's seriously wrong. They're already, in a short time, they can mess these kids up in the head really bad just being here. And whatever this movie night thing is, it's draining the life out of them. Shaw says movie nights take their toll. They make you feel pretty clear at first. I'm pretty sure that's why I can reach you guys, but there's a headache. It just comes back worse every time. And I think Iris has just been through too many of them. I think they're going to move her on soon. Like, look at this. She's dropping her cigarettes in her oatmeal. Just drops it in the oatmeal. So what she said, I think they're going to move her on soon. And Luke says, what, like send her home? Shaw says first they'll have her lead a sparkler night. She doesn't clarify what exactly that is. Then they'll move her to recovery. So I mean, Sigsbee, meanwhile, is watching the cameras closely again, and she sees Hendrix and Tony bringing Luke to the Dreambox room early. So she knows that they're up to something. They're not supposed to be doing that. Fast tracking things. Now, there's one more little bit. I don't know why. I think there are some screenshots missing, but I'll just say it. So there's a little bit here that for some reason it's missing, but Avery looks at the door to the room that says recovery and says, that's where the hum's coming from. Luke says, yeah, it's true. I think even I can hear that. And Shaw asks Avery, can you see what's behind the door? Avery starts freaking out, saying, no, I don't want to. Luke tries to encourage him, saying, we have to know. And he just yells, no. They snap out of it. He pulls away from Luke's hand on the bed back in Luke's bedroom and asks for ice cream, like a typical little kid. So he senses that something really bad is going on in that recovery room. This kid is the strongest telepathic one that they have, and he freaks out over that room. So I think that might be where they bring the kids to put them into a coma. That is still my guess as to what's going on, what the next step is. I think they may be brought there and put into an induced coma. Because at the end of the opening credits, there's a shot of someone wheeling a kid in a bed into the this room full of beds, and there's a screen in front of the face of every person in a bed. A glowing little screen. It looks like it's pretty old, like they've been doing this for a long time, and so I think maybe recovery is not what it seems. They're not in there to recover and go home. I think they're there to just stay there and be put into an induced coma until they can be utilized further and their abilities can be exploited in other ways by the Institute, because they can't let them become too powerful. Once they develop their abilities to become more powerful, they have to do something to subdue them. Put them into a coma would make sense, so that they can't fight back enough to escape. And they can also do further experimentation, and the sensory deprivation that they're going through could heighten their psychic abilities. If that's what's going on. So we'll see. Maybe in episode 5, we'll get a reveal on whether or not that's what's going down here. So, okay, let me skip through this part. I already showed that. Oh, okay. I was going to look at the chat because Carl, you were going to, did you drop the link in there, Carl? Oh, I see it. I see it. Here it is.
Yeah.
Let's see. It's just loading at the moment. So while that's going, I'll continue. George says to Luke, so there's no dream box in the back half ever. Sign me the fuck up. You know, the dream box is something he's experienced and it's horrible. So he's like, sure, that sounds better than this. But Nikki, I think Nikki is the one who has the most common sense, and I'm always on his side with everything he's saying. He's like, you miss what he said about Iris ashing in her fucking oatmeal. Right. George is so naive that it's really annoying. George is like, so what? So it takes a toll on you. Then they send you to recovery. Then you go home. He's just a dumbass. He gets on my nerves. Nikki's like, wow, you really are dead set on believing that bullshit, aren't you? Thank you for being the voice of reason, Nikki. Once again. And he points out that Luke agrees with him, the resident genius. This guy here, George is like, you really think there's no chance that we can trust them? And Luke says, I just don't know. George warns him that you get caught trying to break out of this place, all bets are off. And he's right about that. They get caught, yeah, they're screwed. Luke says we need to see behind that door, meaning the recovery door. So maybe in episode 5, that's what we're going to get. We'll get a reveal. And as they're talking about this, then they notice that the twins and this new idiot Harry bonded fast, and they're hanging out together kind of oddly, with him pushing the girls on the swings, and he's considerably older than them from the looks of it. But they're really close already. Avery basically gets in Harry's head and says that that the girls are like Harry's substitutes for his Cocker Spaniels back home. Like they're his pets. Nikki says it looks more like those little girls run him because he's kind of at their service, pushing them on the swings. And he has a point there. So, okay, let's see if this finished loading now. Okay, let me read Steve's theory here. So Steve says Tony being so overtly cruel, Maureen being so sympathetic to the kids, I think these are specific roles being played for the purpose of seeing how the kids utilize those around them. The fact that they give kids in the back half uniforms to remove individuality and promote community so they begin to operate as one. The way they discuss the kids casing the joint in episode 3 seemed so nonchalant and like they were actually glad that Luke is doing this. Yeah, that's true. Like they point out how the kids are always analyzing their level of security. That's true. Based on this, I think the front half is a live stress test of sorts. They're using the kids who have the shine and want to see who's clever, bold, or strong enough to push limits. The rule breaking, the little rebellion, planning escapes. I think they're actually wanting them to be trying this. They actually want them to be trying this. I don't think they're guarding prisoners. They're refining weapons. Ooh, interesting stuff. I think the hum is the kids in the back half in the comatose state. They are removed. So yeah, Steve believes in the coma theory too. I'm completely on board. They are removed of external stimuli to be linked almost like organic computers performing tasks in conjunction with the dream box. The dream box with one of the front half kids in it is then utilized by the back half coma computer kids to spy on or influence targets. Like Annie said, they changed the numbers, causing the pilot to crash. The kid in the dream box is sort of like a conduit that the coma computer kids are used to amplify the signal of. The kid in the dream box sort of leads the squad of CCKs who are acting as the raw processing power of the dream box, which is where the images projected on the walls come from. Oh, that's really fascinating stuff. I like that a lot. Yeah. The hum is coming from that room where the recovery is going on, supposed recovery. But yeah, I think that's where the kids will be in comas. So I completely agree with that. And yeah, it may be connected in conjunction with the dream box. I can see that. Yeah, that's really interesting stuff. I like that a lot, Steve. Excellent theory. Thanks for sharing. Appreciate it. I love to hear people's theories. And, like me, you haven't read the books, so we can come up with theories on this. I still like to come up with theories regardless of the fact that, some people have read the books. And, well, I put that in my videos too. Like, hey, I haven't read the books, so don't spoil it for me and for others who haven't read the books. And so far, nobody has. So,
and they might change it too, like the way other books have been, especially like Game of Thrones got changed so much. So they might just change it around to where we will end up having a theory craft at the end,
Right. That's very true. They might not go with the source material completely. They could change it. Steve, I can't even remember passwords for stuff I set up a couple days ago. I can't either. I forget them immediately if I don't write them down. Can't remember my MySpace password. Sprinkle Kitty. I remember AOL, MySpace, and dial-up, but not much because I was only a little kid. Yeah, so you're a little younger. I was a kid, but not a little kid. I reset the MySpace password to log in. Oh, that's because you have your old email address. I got rid of mine ages ago, sadly. I can't get to mine. Susie said, I've been trying to download this Sims game because it's fairies for a million years. My internet sucks. Yeah, it's frustrating. Shadow said, with them just going to destroy and get rid of the campsite, I don't think he was overly worried about gloves. Good point. Yeah, so there was really no need. They weren't even going to investigate it anyway. Susie said, see, maybe they sucked out their steam and dropped them. Dieter said, "This is the best community out there. I love you guys." Well, we love you too. Steve said, my theory was so bad your computer deleted it, Julie. No, your theory is excellent. Not at all. It was so cool that Avery could do this. I love that. I love that. I thought that was awesome, that scene. Avery is an excellent addition to the show. Amy said, "I didn't reply right away because I was looking for a snack, but everyone's asleep, so I can't go in the kitchen. I found a popsicle and a piece of cheese to eat." Oh, that's a weird snack combination. You got to wrap the cheese around the popsicle for a real treat, Amy. Yeah, that's a weird combo. I think the hum, Sprinkle Kitty says, "I think the hum is the group of kids with goggles on during the opening. Maybe they're in the recovery room, but maybe the smoke is coming from their clothes or shoes that they're burning." Oh, interesting. Yeah, there was a shot of kids in goggles. I forgot about that. Yeah, fascinating stuff. Love it. Amy said, "Probably so. They're connecting to a kid that has a lot of powers or something." Yeah. Doc said, "I wonder if they will get strong enough to project themselves outside of the Institute and maybe appear to Tim somehow. Maybe astral project themselves in some way." Susie said, "In the Dark Tower, the hum is like areas where reality has been distorted." Oh, okay. Shadow Skulk said if they really were able to wipe the kids' minds like they claimed, they wouldn't have needed to something people. What's that emoji?
Those are like water guns. So in other words, like unalive people. So like, think about that chick, where she's like, "I wonder if I, been doing the wrong thing," and it's like, blam. If you wipe people's memory, why would you need to do that to her? That's a great point, actually.
That is a great point. I don't think they can wipe people's memories. I think that's just a fairy tale they're telling. Hey, Debbie. Nice to see you. Hope you're doing well. Why do we have two characters named George? Do we? Who else is named George? I can't think of another one. There's the one kid. And there's Tim, Stackhouse, Hendricks. Who else is named George? I can't think of anyone.
Yeah, I can't think of anyone at the moment either.
Yeah. Susie said it's also like from like Thinnies create the hum, and they are kind of like portals of broken reality or chaos. I like that. I like that idea. Yeah. I could see that. 21 likes. Please hit the like button. Like, share, and subscribe. Yes, please. Help people find the stream. It's always tough covering a new show and getting it into the algorithm and helping people find it. So that would be much appreciated. Trying to reach 2,000 subscribers. Check out Debbie's channel and her new painting. She put an awesome time-lapse video showing the process of her painting coming into fruition. So it's beautiful. Check that out. Susie said, "I saw that the Institute is supposed to be in Maine too, just like the hospital in From." Yes, it is. It's in Denison, Maine. It's another fake town, I think. Another of Stephen King's fake towns like Derry. Steve said, "I think I mixed up the front half and back half again in my theory." Well, we figured out what you meant regardless.
I hate when I do that in real life,
Yeah, you don't want to be mixing those up. Steve said, "Thanks for reading it." Well, you're welcome. I'm happy to do it.
Or do you want to mix them up?
Guess it depends on your personal taste.
Literally.
Literally. You're welcome, Steve. Thanks for sharing with us. We love hearing your ideas. Doc says, "And caring is love, which is why when I'm overlord, you should share all your possessions with me because love." Yeah. We will all have to bow down to Doc Kaiju. Georgie from It. Oh, yeah, there is Georgie in It. George's Gems on the radio. Oh, gotcha. George's Gems. Yeah, that's right. George's Gems is the radio show that Annie was listening to. Anyway, what else? What else is here before we get back? My live didn't refresh, so I had no clue Julie went live. Well, that's weird. Didn't it? Sometimes people don't get notifications. So I've heard that sometimes. I don't know why. Wasn't the hum in Castle Rock too? Yeah, was it? I've never seen that, so I wouldn't know. Let's see. So I'm gonna rewrite my theory again. Okay. So the page was stuck on live in 23 minutes. So that's odd, Amy. So getting back to the images here. Oh yeah, he continues to push them on the swings, and then let's see, where did I leave off? Oh yeah, so Avery kind of casts a look back toward where the back half is, and Sigsbee shows up asking for a word with Luke alone. Smoking. There's a lot of smoking in this show. So all the kids have to leave so she can talk to him alone outside with this barbed wire fence conspicuously in the background, reminding us that they're prisoners here. It starts to pour, and he points that out. You know, it's about to start pouring, but she doesn't care. And also, he points out that cigarettes are bad for her as she's smoking, and even offers him a drag on her cigarette at one point. So messed up. And she's like, sometimes it's fun to be bad. Really nice. She says some of your test scores aren't corroborating with the progress you're clearly making. Any idea why that might be? So his test scores, so he's clearly making progress, but he's lying to them. He's not admitting that he's seeing the dots and that he's ramping up his telepathic abilities. He's developing telepathic abilities. And so his test scores are not corroborating with how well she can tell he's doing more, you know, he's doing better than he seems, and he's holding back. They can all tell, and he's not doing a good job of hiding it, apparently. So he says that your smoke is ruining the petrichor. What does that even mean? I have to look that up. Petrichor meaning. It's a pleasant smell that frequently accompanies the first rain after a long period of warm, dry weather. So, yeah, there's an SAT word for you. I'm gonna go back to my notes. So, you know, she points out that's the fancy word as well. And Luke is very crafty. He's very calculating. He tells her, so he says, I saw an interview once with a great chess player who said the first thing he likes to know about his opponents is what they would do if they're caught in the rain. If they go inside, he would play an open and wild game and they'd lose. Sigsbee says, I love the rain, which is just kind of naive because she's underestimating how Luke is analyzing her right now. He says if they stayed outside, he figured they were drawn to chaos, and he would play a close, tight game until they ran out of patience. Then they'd lose. So he's crafty. He's excellent at chess, and this was a way that when he first got there, Nikki was trying to judge his intelligence on how well he could play chess, and he beat Nikki in only 6 moves in a really calculated strategy. So Nikki realized like he might be the one he's been waiting for, a kid smart enough to know how they could figure out a way to get out of there. And Nikki just doesn't have what it takes to come up with a plan. He's just smart enough to know not to trust any of these people, and they need to get out. But he doesn't know how to do it on his own. And this is who he's been waiting for, clearly. And he's demonstrating it here with the way that he's psychoanalyzing her in real time and how he can trip her up. She's out here caught in the rain and she's not going inside. So this means she's drawn to chaos, like Lucas just said. So he's going to design his strategy around that. Like he'll play a close, tight game until she runs out of patience and then she'll lose. That's probably the strategy he's going to use now, metaphorically speaking. Sigsbee says, you still haven't answered my question. And he says, why are my test results not showing what you want them to? I don't know. Maybe because these tests are bullshit and so is this place and so are you. A more typical teen answer. He lapses back into teen speak, but he's right about that too. It is bullshit. They're full of bullshit and lies. All they do is lie. Nikki's right. I don't think anything they say is honest. I really don't. I don't believe that they're saving the world. There are theories that maybe they're saving the world and the kids are being used in a way that the ends justify the means, but I don't buy it. I think what they did with the Senator Ramsey, how they took down Senator Ramsey's plane, shows that they're not saving the world unless he posed some kind of threat to the world that justified killing him. I'm not buying it. I think they're out for their own agenda, taking people out, assassinating people, and who knows what else. So Sigsbee says, I'm not your enemy. What before I continue with it, Carl, do you think that they could be actually saving the world, or do you think they have their own agenda and it's nefarious?
I think they treat these kids like they're trash, and I don't think that they could be. Maybe they think they're saving the world. They're doing something. It's just too, there's like a disconnect, because how could you be saving the world and be so indifferent to children suffering? They're
Exactly.
dehumanizing them at every turn. How
Mm-hmm.
could can the ends justify the means, to where you're cattle prodding kids and killing them and potentially burning them up or drowning them, or blowing their heads off and stuff? I don't think so. I think they're evil.
I agree. And is the world even worth saving if this is what necessitates? If this is what saving the world necessitates? I don't think.
Exactly. What's the cost of this quote unquote saving? You lose your humanity, you lose your decency. Exactly. What world is that?
Right. I agree. So it's too high of a cost.
Yeah, I would say let that world burn. If it's built on the backs of children and innocent people, then that world needs to crumble.
Just let it burn. I agree. It's time for the world to just be done then and start over. I put a poll in. Let us know what you think. Is the Institute actually saving the world? Yes, no, other. Explain in the comments, or unsure. You might not know at this point. You might not really be able to commit to one or the other, or one answer. So Sigsbee tells Luke, she says, I'm not your enemy. And she says, no, first she says, stop fighting me, Luke. He says, why? Because you're not the enemy? And she says, no, because you can't win. And just walks away. So she's not even keeping up a pretense anymore that she's on his side. She's just like, no, because you can't win. She knows that he's too smart for her bullshit. So she's not even bothering anymore. Just walks away. There's a little more of this. I took a few too many screenshots, but there we go. That wraps that one up. Then we have a very, very brief scene, which is just, I thought the editing was kind of weird. They could have just shown this tacked onto the other scenes of him and Wendy later, but he shows up at Wendy's house and that's it. It's like a 10-second scene. He shows up and she lets him in, and then we're back to the Institute. Luke sees Tony having to physically completely support Harry. Harry's like, he can barely stand, trying to get him back to his room. He's violently ill, throwing up. Tony says the shots hit everyone different. And Luke is saying, what are you doing? He needs a doctor. Tony just snaps at him, like, stay out of this and whatnot. He calls for a cleanup, and because the kid throws up on the floor, and Tony just seems like his only concern is that it doesn't get on him, and it's a nuisance to him. He doesn't give a shit about this violently ill teenager that they're torturing, as always. And he's just the worst. I can't stand this guy. They're all horrible, vile people. They're sociopaths, but Tony is the worst. So yeah, he gets Harry back into his room, and then he leaves. Maureen shows up to clean up the vomit. And she starts talking to Luke like, you don't have to keep me company, and I know these tests are hard on you kids. And he says, you can drop the aw shucks routine. You know what they do here. Because Avery's been getting into her head and sharing her innermost thoughts and her feelings of guilt about working for this place and telling Luke about it. So he knows that she feels guilty, and she knows what they're doing here. So let's see. She moves the cart away, walks away from him, and beckons to her to follow. She tilts her head and beckons. So he follows her down the hall, and there's a spot where they can go, the cameras don't reach, which she knows all the little nooks and crannies in this place where the cameras don't reach. And she says, anything you need to say without them listening, you say here by the ice machine or in the playground, nowhere else. We can't talk for long. You never know who's watching. So it really does seem like she does care about them. I keep going back and forth, but because she is kind of reporting on them to Sigsbee, but I think they're forcing her to do that. And if she actually found out any really valuable information about the kids, maybe she wouldn't pass it along. The last thing she said to Sigsbee was, oh, nothing new, really. Nicky still will fight to the death, no matter what. He'll fight them to the death. And basically says Luke, does she even say anything about Luke? I don't think she does. So I do think that she's not as bad as the others, and I don't think she's just spying on them and pretending to be on their side.
She's probably gonna be like, she may be trying to do that, but I bet you they got something on her, and they'll just pull the rug out from under her, and she'll have to tell what she knows about the kids, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, they might. Yeah, they might have something on her. Like, why, if she feels guilty, why is she working here? She something trapped her here. There's a story to this for sure. It's like she knows too much. She can't leave now. So if you try to quit a place like this, all of this, then they're gonna come after you. So Luke says, you're the only one who feels ashamed. The only one. This is what Avery's been able to glean from getting into her head. And that's useful. She asks him what he wants, and Luke asks, why don't you blow the whistle? She says, to who? Which is not good grammar. It's to whom, but she says, you have no idea what these people are capable of. So she says, so that line fascinated me. Why don't you blow the whistle? And she's like, to whom? You have no idea what these people are capable of. To me, that suggests that they're connected to the government in some way. Because if you're going to blow the whistle, and they're connected to the government, then who are you going to report them to? The government is in on it. The government is corrupt, or at least part of the government. Shady offshoot of the government. Either that, or maybe she's saying nobody would believe them. I don't know, but I found that interesting. Like, yeah, who are you going to blow the whistle to? That's interesting. And you have no idea what these people are capable of. So the retribution would be brutal. Anyone blows the whistle, you're dead. You're as good as dead immediately. So that's, she's aware of that, clearly. And he knows something about her son. So there's some story related to her son, and not much is revealed here, but he says, what was his name? Your son, what was his name? She says Jacob, but he made everyone call him Jake because Jacob is a grown-up's name and he was a kid. Then he uses that to kind of get her to empathize with them and remind her that they're kids too. He's like, so am I. I'm a kid. We're all fucking kids here. So she's like, there's nothing I can do. But he says, I know I'm not Jake, but the thing is, I could be. So could anyone else here. That's great. Like imagine I'm your son. Like imagine your son was being tortured like this. Great tactic on his part. She says, I can't do anything. I'm a glorified janitor. And he leaves her with a closing statement. You're stronger than you think, Maureen. So trying to give her some motivation to get on their side and do something to help and not just be complicit in what this place is doing to these children. And then at Wendy's house, Tim shows her the empty vodka bottle and the can with the lipstick and asks her if he ever once saw Annie without her lipstick. Wendy doesn't think she ever has. And he says, well, what if she didn't drink it? Like, what if this is because her lips never touched that bottle. That's why there's no lipstick there. What if someone funneled it down her throat? She dismisses it. I mean, at first she says, do you have any idea how ridiculous that sounds? Who would do that? Why? And he very rightly points out to shut her up without drawing attention. She says, why did NASA have her killed? Because she knew the truth about the moon landings. So she's being very dismissive of all this, but Tim points out that Annie knew about Senator Ramsey and how he died in a plane crash and told him about it before it was even on TV. So there's that. And then he shows her some of the stuff he brought. He shows her an article that says apparent swimming accident claims 3 lives. That's now that's weird because in that article that it showed earlier, there were 4 pictures of kids, not 3. But I don't know, maybe that's a different accident. Maybe there's been more than one swimming accident. This might be an article about a different swimming accident at the Red Steps, because apparently this is a notorious place where people get pulled under the strong current easily. And this might be another set of kids who died there, who the Institute just dumped and used that to make it look like an accident, actually. Because that's there, and then she picks up the map, and we can't really see the article here, but I'm pretty sure the article had 4 kids' pictures. The one from earlier with the Red Steps. It's a great way to make it look like an accident, a perfect thing to manipulate, to use, to have that right nearby. So he shows her that stuff and then asks, what she knows about all this, because she was there back then when those drownings happened. She gets out her yearbook and shows him a memorial page. And yeah, there are 4 kids here, not 3. So I don't know. Maybe that was a goof. Maybe that was an error that article said 3 lives, but I don't know. Anyway, she did say that place has been notorious for this sort of thing. So there could have been other kids that got supposedly drowned there. She says that she was just a freshman when they were seniors, so she didn't actually know those kids personally. There's another clue that she really doesn't know what she's talking about. She wasn't there that night, and she didn't even know these kids personally, so she has no way of knowing if they really drowned or not. And I don't buy it. Then they have this weird. Oh yeah, one other thing. There's also that's Zoe, who's one of the kids who died, and Ruth. I don't know if Ruth is another one, but it says Notre pain, meaning our bread in French. I forget why. She gave a reason, but I don't think it's really important to the story. Then they have this weird almost kiss. Like, I knew that this was coming. It was so obvious. It's just cliched. I'm not against a romantic subplot. Pause. I'm not against a romantic subplot, but this is just so cliched. The hate to love, go from hate to love thing. And I don't mind. It's an intriguing thing when you have a good hate to love metamorphosis, but this one isn't well written because she never had any good reason for hating him, for treating him like, in kind of a, bitchy way, for lack of a better word, for no reason. So I just feel like it was poorly written and contrived. At least come up with a good reason for her to have a problem with him in the beginning and then warm up to him later. It's just too cliched for me. Too cliched and not well written enough. Just to throw this in there, like, I don't know. But then she just suddenly backs off for no apparent reason and says that she's got to go get her dinner and his shift's about to start. And he asks if he can borrow her car tomorrow. So that's how that scene ends. At the Institute, Luke dreams about Harry flipping out on the twins, Greta and Gerda. They're trying to offer him food when he's nauseous and not up to eating. He slams the food aside and flips out, grabs a weight, and smashes Gerda. I believe it's Greta. Smashes Greta in the head with it. Really brutal. Smashes her right in the head, and Luke wakes up, runs down the hall. So this is the first sign that he's showing of precognition, because this has not that did not happen yet. This is happening after he dreamed that. So he's getting precognitive abilities here. Then we see it play out just like it did in his dream. He yells for help and gets Tony down there to open the door, but he's too late because Tony's ass is too slow. And right as they're opening the door, this asshole Harry slams the little girl in the head. This fucking psycho. And yeah, she's got to be dead from this. And a guard just stands there holding. Yeah, she looks dead. That's a really serious head wound. That's a giant gash, and she does not look good. Like, this is awful. Really brutal violence against kids in this show. Violence and torture of kids. I don't see how she survives this. And the cover story from Sigsbee later is a load of shit, too. This guard holds Luke back. I have no idea why. Like, what was Luke gonna do? Like, was it really necessary to restrain him? He was just upset, but understandably so. And yeah, Luke looks at him like he knows something. Not Luke, Tony looks at Luke like he knows something like that. How did Luke know? Luke's cover might be blown now. Because Luke knew something was wrong before it happened, and there was a security guard nearby who didn't hear any commotion going on at all happening yet. So Luke may have just screwed himself over big time in trying to help with this. And then the cover story here in the cafeteria is ridiculous. Sigsbee's like, oh, why isn't anyone eating? Like, nobody wants to eat? Are you surprised? This was really fucked up. Her story is absolutely ridiculous. She's like, I know we're all disturbed by the unfortunate incident last night between Harry Cross and the Wilcox girls. As most of you know, following the visual field and acuity tests, you know them as shots for dots, Harry suffered a slight seizure, and when Greta tried to comfort him, he inadvertently struck her, resulting in a little neck strain and some light head trauma. Yeah, that's exactly what that looked like. Some light head trauma. What a load of shit. All three are resting comfortably and expected to make a full recovery. Bullshit. None of them are believing that. Even George, the eternal optimist here, is not buying that crock of shit. She's like, and in no way will this incident affect or put in jeopardy the important work we're all doing. But I want you to know that Harry felt so awful about injuring his friend, and Greta so graciously accepted his apology, saying that. So let's their example of generosity by picking up the slack that their absence has left. That's the true spirit of friendship. Oh my God, could this be any more nonsensical? These kids are gifted. They're not just psychic, but they're all gifted in terms of intelligence. And does she actually expect them to believe this nonsense? It's just so dumb. George asks if they can see them, and she ignores the question and says, anyone who contradicts anything that I'm saying is lying and should be reported. Yeah, that's great. So she also wants them to rat on each other if anyone contradicts what she's saying. Yeah, ridiculous. Like anyone would do that anyway. Then she says, "Am I understood? If I'm understood, can I get a yes, Miss Sigsby?" It's just so ridiculous. Oh, you could do better than that. And they all have to answer her. And she says, "Enjoy your breakfast," and then leaves. Massive cover up. And I would ask, where the hell is the other twin? Where's Gerda? Greta is probably dead. Harry is so fucked up in the head that who knows what they did to him after he became that violent that he did that. They might have. I think they might be in the business of killing kids sometimes when their experiments don't go according to plan. And that could be what we see from the smokestacks, that they could be cremating kids who don't handle the experiments well, and this kind of thing can happen. So I think they may have killed Harry, and I have to wonder what happened to the other twin, because she was not injured. There was no reason to do anything to her, but would they get rid of her too, just to fully cover their tracks? Because who knows how this could compromise her experimental value, losing her twin sister like that. And she probably would not be compliant with them at all after they don't do anything at all about her sister's death. Like, they wouldn't be able to just tell her a bullshit story and have her comply. Not the sister. So maybe they got rid of the sister. That's a dark thought. Or fast-tracked her and put her into a coma in the back half recovery, maybe. I wonder. Carl, what do you think? Do you think that they killed these kids, like all three of them? Or, obviously one
I
of them's
think
probably already dead.
they're gonna end up drowning somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
they're dead. I think.
I think so too. Yeah. Little light head trauma. Yeah, what a load of shit. And then in this related scene after this, see if this he talks to Avery and says, "I fucked up last night. How do I explain how I knew what was going on in that room? There were a couple guards closer than I was. They didn't hear a thing." So Avery's like, "Yeah, they're gonna know you're TP." Luke says, "If I get sent to back half, maybe I'll look for that old playground, the one the dog saw with that old fence." So Avery says, "Yeah, maybe it's a good thing." But Luke points out that no, it's not really a good thing, because we haven't done any recon back there. Kalisha hasn't told us anything about security, cameras, bed checks. If we're going to pull this off, it's got to be while we're still in front half. He said, "Do you ever see things before they happen?" And Avery says, "I don't think so." Before? Why? Because this was an example of precognition, what Luke saw. This hadn't happened yet. This wasn't happening at the same time, like what Avery sees. It wasn't present. It was in the future by a few minutes. So, Yeah, this is unique to Luke right now. The other kids have not developed their PC abilities yet, but they may have the potential for it. Then Tony comes and asks Luke to come with him. And that's the end of that. Tim takes Wendy's car to follow the map that she left behind. There's the map. He's on his way already the next day from when we last saw him. And that's another really quick scene, kind of blink and you miss it. So we're getting close to the end here. There's just this really disturbing scene here and some aftermath of that. But before I get into this last little bit here, let me check on the chat. Okay, let's see. Where did I leave off? Vibrant Numerals said, thank you so much for having me. I need to shut it down, but I'm hoping to start making it to the Monday lives. Well, that's awesome. Really appreciate that. And we'll definitely try to actually make it here earlier, so it'll be easier for people to stay. So really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Let's see. I'm trying to find where I left off here. Scrolling up. Let's see. Where did it stop at? Where did I stop? Here it is. Debbie said, I've been playing Kingo, Stephen King Bingo, and this definitely follows many of his usual patterns. Oh, cool. Sprinkle Kitty says, oh, I forgot about George's Gems. Yep. Debbie says, definitely Susie, especially the ones with kids who shine. I'm actually getting worried about being connected to The Mist. I really love The Mist, actually. Just recently watched the movie. What's this? Steve said, I legitimately had no idea there was a book. I thought this was original IP from both King and Bender. Nope. There's a book. It's just not that well known because it's more recent out of King's catalog. Awesome. Yeah, let's follow Debbie's channel. Absolutely. Debbie said, I think it's the shop. Dun dun dun. And you're welcome, Debbie. We're happy to support. She said, in my humble opinion, they're telling us in the opener what's going on. I agree. The imagery of the smokestacks and then piles of children's shoes, we're supposed to think of Auschwitz. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. And there's other stuff in there that I think is telling as well, like the room full of beds and bringing another kid or another person in there in a bed. Yeah, I think that's going to be the recovery room, and they're not recovering to go home. I think they're put into comas there, if I had to guess. With Alice said, Sigsbee purposefully burned her own thigh, so she probably wouldn't care about the rain. Indeed. Yep, petrichor is the smell of rain. The earth after rain. Yep. And the name of a fish song. Everything connects to fish. Everything seems to connect back to fish, like Carl said. It really does. Or does fish connect to everything? With Alice said, they're ridding the world of bad politicians. One could say that they're doing the world a public service then, in a very dark way. Shadow Skulk says, I think they are actually saving the world, but I think they are saving the world, but I don't think they actually are. Yeah, I should have put that specifically as one of the options. Maybe I will next time. She also says, as a preteen, I read a book that reminds me so much of The Institute. It's called Shadows by John Saul. I just refound it. Oh, nice. Debbie said, I think we're connected to Firestarter, Shining, Carrie, possibly The Mist, and hopefully not Dreamcatcher and It. Annie's lipstick possibly warned of Pennywise, and she did warn us of aliens. Yeah, she did. She mentioned aliens. Tox said, I think Critter also said insomnia. I don't know much about that novel. Oh, I don't know that one myself. Amy said Dreamcatcher is a great book. Doc said, and The Dead Zone. I gotta really familiarize myself with more of these Stephen King things. Stephen King novels. Debbie said they're using these kids up. After back half, they use them as weapons, then burn the evidence. Maybe a few graduate to the shop. Yeah, I think so too. I think they're using them as weapons for sure, and yeah, and then burn the evidence. And once they're not useful to them anymore. Doc said he also said the Dark Tower series is core to understanding King's other works. Oh, okay. Good to know. Doc said, I worry she's going to try to help them fail and lose her life. Who now? Oh, yeah, Maureen.
Maureen, yeah.
Amy said could be blackmail. Right. That could be why. And she's still staying there. Maybe they took her son. Maybe, Sprinkle Kitty. Yeah, maybe. Debbie said Dreamcatcher is one of my favorites. Oh, I've never seen the movie, but I really like the concept, so I'll have to check it out. Maybe her son, Amy said maybe her son is the kid they're connecting to. Could be. I've got to remember to check out that movie. I remember when it came out in theaters. I never got around to seeing it. Seeing the animals running when I first saw it gave me chills. And Dreamcatcher, huh? Cool. Also, Maureen cut a cake like a serial killer. Really, Debbie? I'll have to watch again how she cut the cake. I didn't notice. Steve said, I think the Institute are anti-heroes. They're trying to save the world, but at any cost. Henry even makes a comment to Luke about this during their first session. Something to the effect of, well, if the ends justify the means. Yes, he did say that. He did. He said that, trust me, it's worth it. It's worth it. The ends justify the means.
In reference to doing no harm, remember?
Yeah. Yes. That's right. So they might think that they're saving the world. Also, we have to remember that not everybody has the same level of knowledge as to what's going on. So it's possible Dr. Hendricks might not even know everything going on in the back half. Some of the people on the snatch teams don't know about back half. We learned that early on. The snatch teams don't know anything about back half, only front half activities. How do we know how much Hendricks knows? I'm not sure, because Sigsbee and Stackhouse, they have participated in calls with that mystery man, but Hendricks has been excluded from them. So I wonder if they're keeping some information from him. Possibly. Debbie said Annie and Tim's mom had the shine for sure. Yeah, definitely. Annie, 100%, and Tim's mom. Steve said they're really, they really are trying to save the world, but they don't care who they hurt in the process because the ends justify the means and they see it as necessary. Right. Shadow Skulk says, didn't it say the red step strikes again or something to that effect? I couldn't quite see. I need to zoom in a little closer on the newspaper. Debbie said Notre Dame came from the no trespassing sign. Oh, really? I have to look at that again. Sprinkle Kitty said we'll probably see Alex Turner later. Maybe he's the man in charge. Oh, okay. Bread. Yeah. Pan in French is very similar to bread in Spanish. The languages are so similar, Romance languages.
Oh, muchos gustos.
Sprinkle says, why were the twins even in his room at night? Yeah, right? That was weird. If it was the playground, I could understand, but he needed a weapon, I guess. Yeah, that was weird. It was weird how close he was to those younger girls. What were they doing in his room? Carl, you pointed that out too. That was strange.
That was very creepy, right?
It was. Dieter said, okay, I need to go. Love you all. We love you too. Yeah, I wish we had teleportation devices too. Thanks for being here as long as you could be. We appreciate it. Shadow Skulk said light head trauma. Yeah, right? Seriously. Side eye and what are those things? What is that? Saw? I think. Okay.
I think those are angels' wings. In other words, like she's gone to the other side, I'm assuming.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. We will see them no more, right, Sprinkle Kitty? They say that, and I looked that up because I was like, why are they saying this? And in the captions, because Nikki said it after one kid went to back half, and then Zoe, not Zoe, what's her name? I can't remember her name now, but that other girl, Iris. When Iris was going back there, she said, "You will see me no more," or something. And I looked it up, and that's a common statement that it was said at funerals. So that's ominous. I'll check the replay later, especially the previous one, for laughs. Okay. Thanks, Dieter, for everything you do. Appreciate you. Anyway. Debbie, why did he use George, Annie, Henry, Wendy, Tony, John, Jack, etc.? So many names from other very famous King works. Yeah, that's a good point. Very good point. Debbie said, I keep thinking we're going to get a supernatural surprise. Not sure what yet. The torture was excessive. Yeah, I've been saying this. I think that the torture of kids is going to start turning people off. It's getting really extreme. It's a little much for me at this point. Kelly said, I wonder if they have to get rid of the other twin since they wouldn't be able to keep her quiet about her twin's death. Yeah, exactly. I think that's what I'm thinking, that they'd have to get rid of her because she's not going to believe and their bullshit that her sister is okay somewhere and just being kept, away from them. Anyway, Susie said, I thought they might have wanted it to happen to test their connections as twins. Yeah, maybe, like lots of times twins have been experimented on, unfortunately, because of specifically things like that. Shadow Skulk said he could play it off like the TP girls managed to reach out to him via their TP. True. Yep. Oh, good night. Good night, Amy. Thanks for being here. Doc said, also connected to Outsider and Mr. Mercedes and the others with a psychic lady from those. Cool. Okay. Debbie said, yeah, the no trespassing sign was worn, so the only letters clearly visible were no. Oh, okay. So it looked like no pain, but it was no trepan. Interesting. Interesting that it would look like it said no pain. There's got to be a significance to that. Anyway, moving on. Now we come to this extremely disturbing scene. I think this was the most disturbing yet. That the most disturbing thing that they've done to these kids. Tony takes Luke to a new testing room, and he says, aside from the normal tests that we conduct here, there are some certain special somethings that we save for certain special kids, especially those that don't always tell the truth. Do you always tell the truth, Luke? So this is where, in other words, they torture kids to get them to talk when they're not being honest with them. Luke says, of course. And Tony says, well, here's your chance to prove it. Are you TP? He says, no, I'm TK, remember? Tony responds, no, TK is what you were when you got here. By now, we should have been able to unlock your TP as well. It's supposed to happen when you see the dots. I figured that. They implied earlier in the season that, like Shaw said at one point, that supposedly no one is both TP and TK when they first arrive here. That implies that once you're there for a while, you're both. So Luke says, well, maybe it just doesn't work for everybody. And Hendrix says, it does, everybody, because the abilities are related. If you have one, you have the ability to unlock the other. I was on the team that proved it. So you can do both. You should be able to do both. Luke still insists, maybe I haven't developed yet. Hendrix says, you saw the dots. It's science. We have found over the years that instinctive primal fear reactions, galvanic fear reactions, you might say, are extremely helpful in generating authentic responses. In other words, scaring the shit out of them is going to help make them talk, going to make him talk. So they know he saw the dots, which I found a little weird because he never told them. But maybe they just figured it out and he wasn't good at lying.
Remember, George said they know when you're lying, so just tell them when you see them. Remember, he said that in like the first episode, I think.
Yeah, he said they know when we lie. That's right. I think they must have somebody on staff who's telepathic, because we're not seeing anyone administering lie detector tests, so someone there must be telepathic, at least one person. So yeah, you're right. He's been lying. He never told them he saw the dots, but they know. So Tony tells him to step into this deprivation tank. And Hendrix says, Luke, when you feel your lungs start to deflate, you may be tempted to hold your breath. Cold as ice, damn. But given the risk of rupture, I would recommend against. Yeah, that's lovely. How cold and chill he is about this to a child. Yeah, this kid is a child.
Very matter of fact on that one, huh?
He really is. Yeah, horrifying. He says, now I'm thinking of an animal. What is it? Luke says, I don't know. So Tony is like, okay, sport, if that's how you want to play it. As usual, calling him sport or champ or any of these weird infantilizing nicknames. I still think he comes off as pervy toward these young, especially the young boys, the teenage boys. And then he turns on this machine that I believe what he's doing, he's lowering the oxygen level in that tank and in ramping up this nitrogen. He's pumping nitrogen into the tank and lowering the oxygen level. That can't be good. So you see the oxygen level go down so low and nitrogen goes up. And Luke kind of looks up and he notices vents. So I think that's where they're pumping in the nitrogen. And there's something here, and there's like a little spout and there's a vent. So yeah, they're pumping nitrogen in there apparently and sucking out the oxygen, and he's suffering as a result. Like, he's struggling a lot. He can't breathe, and not only does he have to hold his breath, I mean, anybody can hold their breath for 15 seconds, but I think the effect of the nitrogen, I'm gonna have to Google what exactly that would do, but I think the effect of it must be that his lungs are deflating, like Hendrix said, and it's painful. And so that's why he's struggling so quickly already. And then Tony turns it off. And he says, okay, the next time will be 30 seconds. That was 15. And Luke still insists he's not TP. He's just TK, and he's not even TK positive yet, which means, you can do telekinesis at will whenever you want. You can control the timing, like what George can do. So Tony cranks it up again. He said, okay, sport, it's not going to get any easier. 30 seconds this time. Flips the switch. Again, oxygen goes down, nitrogen goes up. Luke struggles and in pain. And the scene cuts there. And he tries to kind of cover that. That must be where the nitrogen is coming out. He tries to cover it with his hand, but can't sustain that. It's really awful to watch. This is brutal. It's getting harder and harder to watch these torture scenes of the kids, from shocking them with cattle prods and piercing their ear, making it all bloody with those metal things with teeth, the bloody nose, the sweating and making them violently ill. I mean, and then the dream box, which is psychological torture. And then there's this. I mean, this is the worst thing yet, I think. And the scene cuts there. We have another very brief scene again of Tim driving. He's investigating, following the map that Annie left. And he gets out and checks out this rusty gate, which says, oh, yeah, there it is. It says, originally it was Notre Pen. Yeah, I can see that, but it also would have spelled no trespassing. And now it says no, and then pain is down here. Yeah, I see what you're talking about, what Debbie was talking about earlier. So yeah, this is very faded and old, clearly. It's probably I'm sure it's part of the grounds of the Institute. So yeah, he just kind of stands and holds the map, and that's the end of that scene. Back to this, Hendrix asks Luke what sports team he's thinking of. Luke yells that he doesn't know, and he's got double vision and blurred vision. He's getting sicker and sicker. And he's covered in sweat. And we find out later that they did this to him 7 times. They flipped that switch and put him through this 7 times. We didn't see every time that he went through it. So this is why, like, all of a sudden now he's covered in sweat. We didn't see everything they put him through. That's how brutal this is. We just haven't seen all of it. But Tony cranks it up. You know, once again, he says he doesn't know. Tony cranks it up again. So there's, once again, very little oxygen, high nitrogen, and he does this for longer and longer intervals. And yeah, Luke is almost ready to pass out at this point. He's still fighting and struggling against it. And Hendrix, there's a long close-up on him, and it almost seems like this is too much for him. Like but I don't know. I don't see any compassion in his face. He's studying him like a specimen. I still don't see any compassion there. And then Luke is almost ready to pass out. And I don't know. Hendrix looks maybe concerned that they're going to lose one of their lab rats or something. I doubt he's concerned for him as a person, as a child. He collapses on the floor of the box thing that he's in, or the deprivation tank. And Tony turns the air back on and just screams at Luke to just admit he's TP. Just admit it. Enough of this bullshit about sports teams and stuff. Just tell us. Tell us you're TP. But Hendrix just says, have Maureen take him back to his room. And there was a long close-up on his face. I don't think it was guilt necessarily. Maybe he's just worried about his prize specimen getting, just literally dying, because this could kill him if they kept this up. Like here, I don't know. Is this guilt? Does he feel guilty? I'm not sure. If he's this much of a sociopath that he can do the things he's doing to these kids, I doubt he's capable of feeling guilty in this moment. So Tony looks disappointed that he has to shut the thing down and take him back. He's really a sadist. We've got another weird scene in the toy storage room. Sigsbee meets Hendrix in there, and he's all happy that she's there early, and like he thinks it's a good thing at first. She's there she's there to hook up again. They're weird little hookup sessions in the toy closet where she's not even into him and won't look at him. I think that's probably because they're not allowed to fraternize with other people outside the institute due to the top secret nature of their jobs. They likely live on the campus of the place, so it's like it's them or nobody. So she says she saw him take Luke to the dream box and figured out he's running Luke through the PC track. Precognition. Hendrix says it was Stackhouse's idea, and he told him to keep going. Like, he told Hendrix to keep going after Sigsbee told him to stop. He promises he'll shut it down. It'll never happen again if she doesn't tell anyone. He says Stackhouse plans to sell Luke off to the highest bidder once he's built him into a precog. And that his IQ makes him optimistic, but the PC development is a slow process. Sigsbee says that's one of the reasons they put the PC project on hold, and tell Stackhouse that the deprivation tank proved Luke's TP and that she insists on sending him to the back half immediately. So she wants to get him out of the way so she can halt what Stackhouse is trying to do, sell him off to the highest bidder, and take him out of there. But Sigsbee, wait a minute. Hendrix says that it didn't prove his TP, though, the test. Tony choked him out. He says Tony choked him out. Those were his words 7 times, but he wouldn't budge. That's a weird way to put it, choking him out. 7 times they put him through that with the machine. Sigsbee says, okay, well, tell him she'll send him there anyway. She's still sending him to the back half. And Hendricks says, I know I don't have to tell you what'll happen if we connect him to the home before he's got access to his TP. She says he has access. He's just not admitting it. So he's definitely got that. Yeah. Hendricks is being naive about that. I don't even think it's naivete. I think that he's just grasping at whatever he can do to try to keep him there so that he can keep working on him and his precognition. He doesn't want him to get sent to the back half for that reason. He knows Luke has TP and just won't admit it. And if they send him to the back half, it won't be any worse than what happens to the other kids. As if he's actually concerned about his well-being anyway. What a joke. He says that's a hell of a risk. Yeah, I think he's just probably looking at him as a commodity. So if he is concerned about what will happen to Luke, sending him to back half prematurely, it's just because he's looking at him like Stackhouse was saying. What if he gets damaged? He's just a commodity to him. They're guinea pigs and commodities to be studied, poked and prodded, and profited off of. So Sigsbee relents, though, and she says, fine, let's leave things as they are for the moment. Don't say another word to Stackhouse. Jackass. And then she just shoves the little twerp. She just shoves him really hard into the wall. I wasn't expecting that. It startled me, actually. She shoves him back, and then he says, thank you. What a wuss. She just shoved his ass really hard up into the wall, and he says, thank you. Wow. Yeah. Got a lot of self-respect, this guy. She also, as she walks away, says, what about Ellis? We still need to... Oh, no, he says, what about Ellis? Meaning Luke. We still need to find a way to prove he's TP. And she says, leave that to me. That's the close of that scene.
What do you, Julie, just real quick, what do you think that means? To me, that makes me think that maybe she has some abilities too.
Maybe. Yeah, I think that's possible. She's showing huge signs of trauma. The fact that she is a masochist and enjoys branding herself, maybe she was once experimented on there and has trauma left over from that from a young age.
Right. And the way she's able to shield herself, because nobody's read her, right? Avery hasn't read her, nobody's read her, and they've all been around her. So she's got, at the very least, some ability to stop their TP.
That's right. That's a great point. No one has read her. She's able to shield her thoughts from the telepathic people. So that's a great point. Yep. Yeah, so I think she's going to use her own powers to try to get to Luke, for sure. Her own telepathic powers. Jedi mind trick kind of weird stuff. Who knows? But Avery's waiting for Luke back in his room after he's brought back by Maureen from being tortured for information, or tortured to get him to admit the truth, and as she's leaving, Avery reads her mind, and this is really interesting. Avery reads her mind, and he sees a vision of her pushing. I think this is probably one of the twin girls, pushing her into the recovery room. I think we can assume that she's pushing her into the recovery room. That's the place we have not yet seen in the back half. And it appears at the end of the opening credits, there is a room at the end of the opening credits, there's a room with a bunch of beds, and someone is wheeling someone in just like this through a doorway. So she's got to be taking her into that room full of beds, and I think that must be the recovery room. I've said since my first episode deep dive on this, I've said since episode 1 that I think that they're all in that somewhere in the back half they're putting kids into induced coma states. And when we watched episode 4, I kind of, at first I was thinking, oh, okay, I was wrong, they're not bringing them there to put them into coma states. But then there was the recovery room, which we did not see, so I thought, okay, the theory is still alive. They could have the kids back there. That's what I'm thinking is going to go down. And she's taking her in there. I think this is her taking one of the twin girls into the recovery room where she's going to be placed into an induced coma with the other kids. That would be my prediction. And he's seeing a little bit of that. So Avery was able to get a glimpse, almost get a glimpse of what's in that room through her mind. But unfortunately, that's all he sees for the time being.
Doesn't he say the term recovery room or no?
I don't think
Avery.
so. Yeah, no, I don't think so. You mean in this scene?
Like when he's trying to wake up Luke or telling him don't go to sleep, does he not use the phrase recovery room? Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought he did at the very least.
No, not in this scene. He was saying, "Luke, I could feel you. You were dying. That must have been so scary." But he didn't say anything about the recovery room. But what do you think? Is this first of all, you think this is one of the twins, and is she being wheeled into the recovery room? Is this possibly where they're in comas? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think that wheeling them in there to hook those TV cameras to their or those monitors to their faces.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether that's I'm assuming that's the one that's still alive, to be honest.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
the
The
one
one
that's
that's
dead,
still
they
alive.
would just burn her up or do whatever they're gonna do to her, to dispose of her body.
Exactly. Yep. Get rid of the evidence. Burn her body. That's where we see the smokestack with the smoke. Yeah, and this is the one that's still alive because they can't have her there as a witness. She'd make too much noise about her sister, so
Right.
they'd
Right.
have to get rid of her.
And then remember Annie was telling that lady, what was the name of that lady's daughter or whatever? Was it Zoe?
Zoe.
Zoe? I bet you Zoe's in there right now.
Yeah, Zoe could be in there.
And that's what they do when they say they send them home. They probably send them somewhere where they just use them up until until they can burn them up, I guess.
Hold on, just a.
Yeah, I'm thinking everybody's just hooked up until they're used up. Hook them up, use them up, burn them up, maybe.
I agree. Yeah. Um. Let me see. I'll be right back in just a minute. Okay. Then we can wrap up the last scene.
Okay, we'll just all talk amongst ourselves. So if anybody's got any ideas of what happens in the recovery room, you should put it in the chat and we'll highlight them. I think there are a lot of From vibes on what we see going on here. Yeah, Shadow. I swear I thought I heard him say that. I thought I heard him say recovery room. So we'll check the tape on that. I think Susie, the different monitors, don't they represent just maybe different time periods? Just like there, I don't know whether it was episode 1 or 2. There was a shot as they're going into that toy room, and you see like newer, like I said, a PlayStation, I think a 5, and then all the way down to an Atari. To me, that just represents that it's a way to convey how long this place has been there. Like it's been here since at least the 80s, if not, you know, longer than that. Just like the old pictures, there's old pictures that are in the opening credits.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay.
So yeah, just to wrap up this final scene, Avery's inside her head, and she looks like troubled. Like she was reliving that in her mind, and that's how he was able to see that. She was thinking about it. I'm sure she just got done bringing that girl there within the last day, so she was thinking about it. Avery read her thoughts, and he, he says to Luke, I could feel you. You were dying. That must have been so scary when he was in that tank. And Luke says, I wasn't dying. They were just messing around. So, he's trying to make him feel better because he's just a little kid. Maureen tells Luke to get some rest and leaves. And Avery, after he saw that in her head, he doesn't he say something to Luke here? I think I missed a line, but I think he says something. I don't remember.
I think he says, and somebody pointed it out in the chat. I think that's where he says that he knows what Maureen. He knows that Maureen knows what's in the recovery room or something like that.
Oh, that's
what
right.
I think. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I missed that one last line. And that was the end of that. That wraps up that episode. Let me just check in here one more time before we finish this for the night. Debbie said the missing S's made me think about SSDD and Dreamcatcher. Yeah. Maybe Stackhouse, Susie said, maybe Stackhouse is the telepathic one that works for them and was once a kid there, and that's why she has to self-harm to deal with her job. Maybe you're talking about Sigsbee. Yeah, I'd say it's Sigsbee for sure. The woman with Alice says, why does Luke need to tell them if they truly know? Yeah, so it's probably Sigsbee's the one who's telepathic. I think Luke needs to admit. I think the problem with lying about it is that they need him to be compliant with their tests, and they need to know what's going on. I mean, but you do have a point. I mean, why do they really need to know? That's a good point. They don't really need him to just verbalize it. If they know, they could just move him on to the next, the next round of tests and whatnot. They focus on that red soccer ball way too many times. Yeah. Why do they have so many monitors? Yeah, I don't know. Oh, no doubt she totally relates to Luke. She's like him. Oh yeah, I think so. About Sigsbee. Debbie, yes. Oh, hey Taryn Matheru, nice to see you. So many From vibes. Definitely, I see some From vibes too. Yes, totally From me, like Debbie said. A lot like From, Susie. I see a lot of parallels for sure. 25 likes. Anybody who has not hit the like button, that would be much appreciated, even on the way out as we're wrapping up here. Helps with the algorithm. That would help a lot. Thank you. Like Dieter said, please like, share, and subscribe. Trying to reach 2,000 subscribers, and I'm inching my way there bit by bit. So another solid episode. I think it's improving actually as it goes along. It's improving in some ways. Some flaws remain in the writing, the characters, the acting, and I do think that the torture of the kids is going to be unpalatable for a lot of people. It's getting more extreme. How much worse is it going to get? I don't know. I mean, this is pretty dark. And you look at a show like From, the whole show is really based around the sacrifice of children, but it's not front and center. It's just the backstory of the show that's revealed later. And so it's more palatable. And the kids who were sacrificed are the Nkui kids. We didn't know them when they were alive, so we don't have an emotional connection to them. And I think that's why that show is much more palatable. So I don't know. I don't know how people will take to this show as a result of all this brutality toward the kids. But I'm enjoying it. I'd say I once again, I've been giving most of these like an 8 out of 10 rating. I'd probably still give it an 8 out of 10. And maybe that's being overly generous. Probably is more like a 7 out of 10. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm biased because I do like Stephen King stuff. Jack Bender's the executive producer and one of the directors. One of the exec producers. There's a bunch. But yeah, I'm probably being overly generous. If it wasn't for the connections to From, yeah, I would automatically say it's no better than a 7 out of 10 for sure. But like, yes, I second what Shadow Skulk said, and you have all of our love and well wishes to Dieter. We support you and thank you for everything you do for the channel. What would you say if you had to rank it out of 10, Carl?
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say like 7.5, but that's what I think I rated the other one. So let me go 7.9. How's that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's solid. Yeah, I think that's a fair rating. 8 is really too high. Anyway, I'm gonna be trying my best to get episodes 3 and 4 breakdowns done as soon as I can. Realistically, I might only get episode 3 done by Saturday by the time the next episode airs, so I'll still be running a bit behind. But I think now that I don't have a big interview coming up, next week like I did this week, I can finally catch up and have my episode 4 deep dive out at least by early next week. I think I can do that. So then I'll be caught up. Huh?
And when are you dropping that amazing interview, by the way?
I'm gonna schedule that to drop. Well, I was gonna schedule it to drop in the morning, but I want to be awake for it when I drop it. So I'm planning on going to sleep pretty soon in the next couple of hours or so. So it'll definitely be today. That's Friday. Today, I'm gonna schedule my Keith David interview to drop later today, and it'll be a live premiere, not a live interview. A live premiere of an interview that I did on Monday, which I'm really proud of, and I was honored to get to do. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with everybody. First time I ever was part of a press junket. I've done interviews before, but not in a press junket format. So that was a whole new experience, and it was awesome. So I'm really looking forward to sharing it. And I will be dropping my episode 3 deep dive from the Institute within the next couple days. And I would say by early next week, I'll have my episode 4 deep dive done, and I'll be caught up and get my episode 5 one in before the next episode. Because Saturday night will be episode 5 of the Institute dropping. I'll be doing a watch party as always at 11:59 p.m. Eastern on Saturday night in the Discord. So if you want to watch with us, come by and we'll stream it. I'll stream it as soon as the episode drops, episode 5. And Monday night, we hope to go back to our regular schedule, and I don't see why we won't. As far as I know now, we'll be doing our live Monday night, most likely 10:30 p.m. Eastern, and that'll be diving into episode 5. And other than that, Friday night we'll have FROMacademy with Doc at 12:30 a.m. Eastern. We'll be diving into Martin and the mystery that is Martin. Who or what is he? And is he a scammer? So with Doc Kaiju, we'll be diving into that Friday night. And that's pretty much it. Well, keep you posted on next week's schedule when it gets closer, but definitely planning on doing the Institute live on Monday, which is our usual night. Live live from last Monday on this Friday. Yeah. I put it off as long as I could humanly put it off, as long as humanly possible. And I didn't want to, but it was necessary. That Keith David interview, I had to put all my focus and energy into that, and it wiped me out. Yes. Night knockers. Yeah, night knockers. Y'all have a lovely night. You have a lovely night too, Susie. Thanks for being here and offering your insights and your ideas, and everyone else as well. Great insights. I love to hear all your theories and predictions and observations, especially those of you well versed in Stephen King, which I am not. I love Stephen King's work that I'm familiar with, but there's a lot that I'm not yet. So you've enlightened me on a lot. The song. Oh, the song. Yes, the song. Let's see. I'll pull it up. Let me see if I can. Oh, I can just play it right out of. I think I can play it right out of my DMs if I share my screen. Shouldn't be a problem. I've done that before, I think. So I've got my DMs right here. Yes, thanks for reminding me, Doc. My lousy memory strikes again. Let's see. Where is it? Here it is. Okay, shared it in Google Drive. Cool. Drive. It's just loading now. Okay. Come on. My Chromebook's a bit slow. It's like it's doing that buffering thing. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome, Doc. Thanks for making it. I love it. It's so fun. Your hard work really shows. You put a lot of effort into these. Okay, I got it loading here now. All right.
Nine knockers hit the spot, bustin' hot, never stop. Now they got the car deep, dive in, make it pop, make it pop. Who's got the weight, break, trade, get contained, what's the rain? Play the thing, let the good times ring. Night, we the crew, strut and true, bring it through. Twin deep, stay to see, catch 'em quick, don't miss the view. Julie Stoops, the news, call, drops, it goes the roost. Now the swing it free, the pre-be the ones to choose. Lots of string, kings and queens, legends on the screens, digging deep, institute the seat, keep it right to see. Knockers, pack, tight, stack, right, living dreams, knocking doors, fall shape, making head spin supreme. Nine knockers hit the spot, bustin' hot, never stop. Now they beat the car deep, dive in, make it pop, make it pop. Who's got the weight, break, trade, can't contain, yes and brain. Bring the thing, let the good times ring. Let it rain, don't stunt, we hunt for fun. Night knockers like under the same sun. Perky chat, lift the vibe, we thrive. It's one, double D, double ride. All after never done. Knockers on the rise, no surprise. You stunt in the spotlight, shine it right seconds to none. Let's step up, night knockers, face and brace. We chase, bouncing through the night tight fight, never lose the race. Massive close, show the close, take to beat. Old phrase, not the seat, beat the streets and spirits of blend. Line up, obsessed with the best, no less. Who's there? Call spread, the impressed, no stress. Flashing lights, insight, take flight, we blessed. Knockers united, ignited, we the best. From the first stream team to the last, we invest in no more, evermore. Knockers never rest. Nine knockers hit the spot, bustin' hot, never stop. Now they beat the car deep, dive in, make it pop. Knockers got the weight, break, trade, can't contain, raise and dream. Bring the thing, let the good times ring. Let it ring. Through and through. Feel the game. Night knockers, top of the chain.
Okay, that was awesome, Doc. Absolutely love it. That was so fun. Thank you so much for making that. I cannot thank you enough because I love that. It's so catchy. You created a bop. Absolutely love it, and it fits perfectly. And I can't wait to see the lyric video that you're gonna put together. And don't worry about it trying to look fancy. Seriously, it'll just be cool to have a visual, any visual, to go with the audio, just to have something to look at on top of it. Oh, that'll be great. So thank you, Doc. Yeah, awesome. Love it, Doc. Anyway, um, have a good day or good night, everybody. We'll see you tonight now, technically, Friday night, 12:30 a.m. Eastern, for FROMacademy with Doc, diving into Martin. And check out my interview with Keith David. When it drops, you'll see a notification in Discord that I've scheduled it. I'm not sure the exact time right now, but it's going to be sometime today. And if you have your notifications turned on, then you'll see when it goes live. Again, it's a pre-recorded interview. It's not happening live. Believe me, I'd have him on a live if I could, but he's Keith freaking David. I've got to be glad I got any interview. So I hope you understand that I'd have him on if I could, and maybe someday, you never know, we can dream that we could get him on here. But for now, that's what I have to offer you guys, and I can't wait to share it with you. So that'll be later today, and then FROMacademy tonight. So have a good day or a good night, everybody, and we'll see you next time.